Hola. I'm trapped. Trapped inside of a plant cell.
What's going on, folks?
What up? Not much, man.
You got a new background. Are you moving some stuff around in the gym often?
No, I was gonna I'll turn it back on. I'm trapped inside of a chloroplast, man.
Oh, is that what that is?
An algae. Yeah.
Okay.
This is actually, this is a confocal image of algae. So the purple parts are chloroplasts, and the blue part, I don't know what that is actually, to be honest with you. It's like background stuff that just illuminated for some reason in my thing, and I wasn't able to actually use it for my research. So
Okay, I thought you might have still been recovering from 420, and like this is just a visual representation of what you're experiencing.
There you go. I didn't partake actually. I forgot, to be honest with you. I just with the kids, and then
Yeah, it's that's like for areas where it's like a cultural staple, and for like that's a young man's holiday, you know.
it's very true. I appreciate it though. I mean, I partake myself. So.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, I love it.
You're out in the West Coast, huh?
Yeah, California, man. It's been legal
there you go.
since like '98. So
There you go.
Cannabis, correct? That's what we're talking about.
Actually, it's cannabis.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It was just funny.
I thought we had punished Professor Q for a moment. He came in very.
We literally just got medicinal here, so.
We have very limited medicinal.
Yeah, ours is super limited too.
Y'all talking about the marijuana?
About that devil's
Cannabis.
lettuce, brother.
Oh, all right. Let me get some video in. Oh God, dude, those Lucky Charms actually fucked me up. I'm not
serious?
even kidding.
That's funny.
Did you eat Lucky Charms?
Well, I ate them after I was bet 10 gift subs by my chat to eat potentially contaminated Lucky Charms, and those things ain't right. So,
Really?
Wait, contaminated Lucky Charms?
yeah, the FDA announced there was an investigation into 4,300 reports of food poisoning of Lucky Charms. So I said,
Wow,
all
that's a
right,
lot,
for
dude.
science.
Oh, babe,
Here we
tell her
go.
Lucky Charms.
Yeah, don't eat Lucky Charms.
Let me
That's
tell
all I
her
gotta
because
say.
she's a big
Have
fan.
they not recalled it yet?
They don't know if it's causative. Like they actually haven't figured out whether there's a causative link or not.
Speaking of causation, the person I chose today makes a great point about correlation and causation, and then goes to immediately contradict himself by using correlation as causation. It's great.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
So what was it? Was it like what is it? Listeria?
Well, so apparently the last cereal-based food contamination was salmonella, but we don't know. We don't know what's going on for this one
Classic
yet.
salmonella.
They don't even know if it's microbial.
Oh no!
Don't
What's
die,
the thing
please.
that's Chipotle always has?
E. coli.
That's E. coli.
E. coli. Oh, really?
Coli
E.
and the
coli.
lettuce, brother.
Ugh.
Basic E.
Disgusting.
coli.
We have a like a regional ice cream company, Bluebell, in the southeast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so good, but at least once every like year to 3 years, we'll have a recall, and then like there's no Bluebell, but people will buy everything up beforehand because it's just that damn good.
I'm going out of Bluebell.
Trying to get me my goddamn homemade vanilla bean, brother, before the government tries to tell me I can't eat it.
They're out here
I don't think
canceling
it's
ice cream.
regional. Is it? Am I crazy?
What's that?
I was saying I don't think they're regional anymore, but I might be crazy.
They might be national, but like every time I talk about Bluebell, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Maybe it's just like
I know
some
they
very
sell it,
deep
like-
Southern memory.
Yeah.
I know they sell it in like
It's the
grocery
best,
stores.
Cookies and cream, hands down. Nobody can beat their cookies and cream. Yeah, I'm
take
getting
your word
people in
for it.
chat saying they haven't heard of it.
Damn, that's actually kind of surprising. Bluebell is pretty known.
Yeah, I've heard of it, and I've moved around quite a bit. So
I've been trying to experiment with a couple Ben and Jerry's flavors, and
Goated.
every time they do
Stuff.
the social activism blends, I always pick it up just to see like, okay, let's see what it is. And there was like a Black Lives Matter version they had that was like coffee, fudge bits, and marshmallows. So
Ooh.
good.
didn't they have
Ooh.
a Bernie flavor or
It
something?
did have a Bernie flavor, yeah. I feel like even if I didn't like the ice cream flavor, I'd buy like one just to do my part to boost their numbers for that.
Yeah, but Ben and Jerry's also
flavor.
donates to or does something with AIPAC, does something with the state of Israel, I think, and that's kind of counter to whatever they're doing.
I mean, yeah.
Can't
Well,
win.
like-
Okay.
If you can still eat Chick-fil-A,
True.
True. True.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Ugh, nasty.
My brother-in-law just got a job at Chick-fil-A. He just got back from his boot camp in AIT, and he's in the National Guard. He just got a job at Chick-fil-A as like a part-time thing, so he has something to occupy himself when he's not at drill. And I was like, you need to tell me the secret sauce. You need to tell me like what's going on in that back area. He was like, I've already signed an NDA. I can't.
wait, did you say your brother-in-law?
Yeah, my brother-in-law.
My brother-in-law used to work for Chick-fil-A.
Oh shit! You and I, we're like is a secret shared past. Yeah.
What do they
Ooh,
call
We
Haagen-Dazs
that
don't
in
is
communicate
the
anymore. We just make awful
New Age
noises.
circles? Synchronicity, I think.
Yeah.
Serendipity.
Is it serendipity or is it synchronicity? Serendipity is
Both.
like, oh, well, like how fortuitous, right?
Depends on if you're trying to make money from people. If you're trying to make money from people, it's synchronicity.
Ooh,
Okay.
Interesting.
If you're just being like a normal person, you say serendipity.
Yeah.
How much
Someone
are
in
you
chat
trying?
saying you can buy Chick-fil-A sauce at Wally World now in whole ass bottles. Yeah, but it's not the Chick-fil-A sauce that you want. You want the Polynesian sauce. That's the one you go for.
Also, Professor Q, I'm noticing your hair.
I
Yeah.
know.
Red.
My power level, it's over 9,000.
Hey!
Looking good.
Did you
it was-
dye it with like dye?
Oh yeah, I have a guy that you're gonna love this story actually, and I don't mind sharing it with the chat.
You should try
Um,
henna.
I'll take your word for it.
I mean, I'm totally a natural ginger. Shush, shush, shush.
So I met a guy on Scruff, right? So that's one of the gay
Joke
dating
promo.
apps, and I've always found the best hairdressers off Grinder and Scruff, believe it or not. Anyway, he's up in
Woman dress me
Chicago.
here. How does that work? How does that work?
It's, you get talking to people, you get to know them. You're like, oh, you're a hairdresser, all right. Always look for the kids with the wild hair. So he always has a green mohawk.
Yes, the hairdressers always experiment with their hair. It's amazing.
He used to be Bro Laris on Instagram, so like Polaris, but bro.
Oh, nice.
I also do it every year for the Midwest Social meetings because it fucks with the old people who are like, oh, you gotta look proper if you're gonna be in academia. And yeah, so it was 4 years ago. Oof, that's such a long time ago. He did it, and I let him do whatever he wanted to, and it was like orange as fuck. It was amazing. Yeah, it was.
You stepped in the barber seat and were like, fuck my shit up, fam. And he was like, I got you.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what I expected. I was a little shocked, but yeah, it looked cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid.
So I was told that tonight's episode is a special episode about our favorite pseudoscience grifters. Was I informed correctly? Because I came prepared.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're like gonna wait for Maddie necessarily, or if she'll just like meander in when she can.
She
I
said
think we could
5:45.
probably get
so-
started.
Yeah, we should probably.
45? Okay. We might be able to do a little pre-show then.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works. That's, of course, like you said, Grandma, the general theme. Because I know there's one that Greg has been like holding on to for a while.
Okay.
Oh, we're doing that one.
If-
We're doing that one.
Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's your choice. Did you pick him, or did you pick someone else?
We can. Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's a good time to talk about it. I think that works.
Oh, I hope you and I didn't pick the same person.
I would be shocked.
Probably not.
I would
I
be
would
shocked.
also be very surprised.
Okay.
This dude's deep, man. This one's deep.
Okay, because I only say that because like he's relevant right now, the guy I chose, and to not do the obvious thing and say Jordan Peterson, I picked someone different.
Yeah, I think there's more of a likelihood that you and Amber might have overlapped. I don't know if you saw what Amber picked.
I didn't.
I picked Steven Pinker, but I have
Okay,
a
no.
second one, just in case.
Who's your second?
She is Christina. Fuck, what's her name? Christina
Okay.
Hoff-Sommers, but I didn't get a lot on her. But
Okay.
she's
So I picked Dr. Mehmet Uz. You may know him as Dr. Oz.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
my God,
This is a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good
So-
one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Problem with this idea for the panel was that I'm new to this whole sphere of like IDW science chuds, except for the times I watched a couple of them back in my atheist days debate religious people and be assholes. So I literally went to the Wikipedia page for the intellectual dark web and just saw the lists that they had and just picked a couple people and just went from there. So
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Almost treating it like a school assignment. Just like find a chud on the list and research them. You know,
Chud Finder.
oh my god, can we please
there are big brain
chudfinder.com?
chuds in your area.
Click on, like,
Oh
AdultChudfinder.com.
my
a
God.
category like molecular biology, and they're just like, here are people.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
Professor Q, you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Is Dave still running his wiki? Because we could, in theory, turn that into like the Science Chud archive. I have editorial
He
powers.
is, and he is looking for people to contribute. Let me pop into his Discord real quick and see where that's at.
Yeah, because I know I was trying to get an account with editor permissions, and that was a bit of a like technical snafu right when he first launched it. But for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Gay Dave at Echoplex, who is basically like a Rolodex of conspiracy theorists. He has so much conspiracy content that he covers. It's fucking insane in a good way. But the people he covers are insane in the bad way. So, but all that to say, like he has a newly launched, or I don't know if it's new anymore, but he has a wiki where we could almost kind of do archival. Like we could literally just create pages on all of our favorite chuds.
Ooh. I feel like that's needed at this point. I feel like there needs to be some kind of like wiki that everyone can just go to.
Here it is. Posting it in chat. 2, 3.
Hey, there we are.
What is
Yeah, 'cause
this?
I think this is another streamer on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, I know Echoplex, but like, what is this for?
Well, in theory, we're thinking about like archiving like information like Wikipedia style on our favorite science chuds and possibly beyond, to have sort of like a one-stop shop. Like, oh, no, you heard something from Jordan Peterson? Come, you click here. And here's the fucking apple cider video. You know, shit like that.
That would actually be perfect for streams. So whenever I talk about a certain chud, I can just like pull all of the receipts.
Exactly. That's precisely what I'm
That would take
thinking.
a lot
Just
of
like
time.
receipt archives.
Yeah, it would take a long time because you would have to dedicate like whole ass days to like individual people.
Oh, for
I mean,
sure.
more than, but yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to like do it like an embed to the Wayback Machine.
Oh, he's got one for Heather Haig, Jordan Peterson, Simon Park, Steven Pinker. There's a couple others on there.
So
a lot of the like race science people he's probably got up and like archived already since they're nonstop.
I don't know if you
Sorry,
guys
go on.
saw this recently, but I had a dude respond to my quote tweet on this, but you might be able to see it in my window here. Not that, but Newsmax confirmed that Ben Shapiro voted for Joe Biden.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
I saw this.
Spicy.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Left considers black conservatives to be traitors and listed Ben Shapiro as one of the black.
How would you possibly know that unless he said that though?
Yeah, I mean,
How would you
well,
know?
if he-
How
how would he know? Well, clearly he's black, so he voted for Joe Biden.
Oh god.
Yeah, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, Jack.
I saw
Yeah.
that meme thing with I know what you mean.
Okay.
I mean, he
Somebody
did
thought I
call
was
Trump
serious.
deeply irresponsible, so
For shame. I don't know why they included Ben Shapiro in that. They could have just included Candace Owens, but woman, so maybe that's why.
I don't know. Maybe they're setting up for some anti-trans 2-for-1 type of rhetoric by saying
Maybe
he's
so.
transracial.
Maybe so. Did you guys see, speaking of Candace Owens, her and Charlie Kirk were at a TPUSA conference, and the fire alarm went off, and Charlie Kirk was like, prove there's a fire, and then we'll leave. Like, what do you want to bring
What
in, like
the
a piece
fuck?
of burning like drywall? What do you want?
That's some serious brain rot, dude.
Yeah.
I need to debate the fire in the free marketplace of ideas and tell us
right.
why it's bad to burn down the building.
Based.
That's right.
See, I'm telling you, if we just let these guys be stupid, they'll eventually, off themselves. So
Sounds like it. Sounds like you're doing a
Well,
good
I mean,
job.
Now you know how Charlie Kirk responds in the event of a hypothetical fire, which means whoever is going to pull the fire alarm next time is going to set a real one and use reverse psychology to trap them in a burning building.
In a video game.
In Minecraft.
Not
In
giving
Minecraft.
anybody any ideas here.
Yeah, that's bad in real life. Please don't do that.
I used
Yeah.
to do that to my Sims.
Yeah, literally in a video game.
Oh. Your Sims. Okay.
Yeah, Sims 2. You could just you could just delete the door. Oh man, what
You
a game.
monster.
I know.
But they don't
I
break
had
the
a lot of
windows or
frustration
anything?
as a child. What?
They don't break the windows?
You can
There's also-
in Sims 2, you put them in a pool and deleted the ladder, and they couldn't get out, and they would drown.
you can also make them
I did that on
burn,
accident.
right? Like you can grill them,
But, like-
the babies.
You can what?
You can grill the babies in The Sims, right?
No.
Yeah, you can. Well, I know you can light them on fire.
Well, yeah, but you can't put them on the.
What kind of crazy left-wing communist, like, pro-abortion video game is this?
Say to grill your baby.
That's right. They're teaching the kids how
Drown
to
in a
grill
pool.
babies now.
Oh fuck.
Isn't there an add-on or a like a DLC for all of the Sims games where like you can get models of presidents? Or is that just modding?
Oh my
No, that's
god.
just
It's probably modding.
Okay.
Could you imagine how much fun you could have, like with Donald Trump in The Sims and like all the
There-
things you could fucking do? Oh my god.
The
I wanna
DLCs are
do-
usually like become a vampire, go to
Ah.
clubs. Like
See, I want to do a
Oh.
Sims run where it's just like Big Brother, but all the contestants are former presidents. So like Jimmy Carter and like I don't know, William Taft are in the pool hall, while Donald Trump and Joe Brandon are like in the kitchen fist fighting each other.
Okay,
what I
you've
want.
got Joe Brandon stuck in my head. Like I actually went to go talk to someone about Joe Biden, and I was like, Joe Brandon.
I hope that was at your
Brain
conference.
rot. Literal brain rot.
I think you overestimate the capabilities of the Sims AI.
Wow.
Speaking of which, oh my god, that conference! Holy
Dude,
fuck, man!
You drunk DM'd me
Oh my,
like
yes,
on the
I know.
24-hour stream. It was nice. It wasn't anything weird. I was just like, aw.
Yeah, those Marxists, man. I'm telling you, every year that conference is serious trouble because, my kind of core group of friends ended up in the Midwest, and yeah, man. Between Lucas, who we had on the stream, and another friend of mine at University of Wisconsin Duluth, and then some other people who had a house party. Oh my god, it was just
These humanities conferences or social sciences conferences sound pretty awesome. I kind of want to go to one now.
You know, it's the librarian conference. That's the one I hear that's like the real like crazy one. But again, I don't know. Never been. So
Damn. Are they organizing shots by the Dewey Decimal System?
you know, I should suggest that to a friend of mine who's going to go this year. So
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Jesus. All
Yeah,
right. Well,
there
who
is
wants to start tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Marcus.
No, you're fine. Yeah, we could probably just go in with an intro, and Maddie said she'll be here in about 20 minutes, so
Okay.
we can. We can figure ourselves out. I know Amber has a PowerPoint, so we might need to like.
Okay, so I was
Save
going to
that.
do a really cursed, like awful PowerPoint, but then I didn't want to be the kid that tried too hard on the homework, so I didn't.
Aw.
I'm sorry.
Well, we're all nerds here, so it wouldn't have mattered either way.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. There's like this much effort that most people put in, and making a PowerPoint is like this much effort, and I was like, eh.
Well, I mean, I've got a Twitter thread for mine, so yeah, at least somebody else did it for me, I guess.
I made a
But
Word
it's got a couple
document.
articles and a Wikipedia.
I made a Word document with a list of shit, but I think that's
Yeah.
just because I don't know a lot about these people, so I like felt like I had to compile as much as I could, so I sounded at least a little knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so here let's kick it off, and then I think Amber, we could start with you since you have everything already like collated and ready to go. All right, Ministry of Science. I think this is 17 now. I might be corrected soon on that, but today is going to be our Science Chud show and tell, and I kind of push for this to be the topic tonight simply because there are many of them. People don't really know they exist. There are some more prominent ones, of course, but especially as Greg will probably get into with the one that we've talked about before, there are a lot of them that are in various niches that wind up actually having some pretty outsized influence on people and their behavior. So it's worth bringing some of their doings and misgivings and other pseudoscientific thoughts into the limelight so we can at least understand who is doing what as it pertains to present day. So I think with that being said, Amber, go ahead and lead us off with
I
the
feel like I'm giving a report.
chud you chose. Well, so I think we can maybe like frame this a little bit in terms of like give us like an introduction just into like what's the chud's name, like do they have any credentials, what's their background, and then we can kind of launch into like why are they a chud after that.
Yeah, so the my chud of choice was Steven Pinker. Da, 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 da.
yeah. Oh, wait, but-
He is a Canadian-American, I'm literally reading from his Wikipedia, Canadian-American cognitive psychologist, psycholinguist. He's written a bunch of books, and I briefly heard of him in my, like, militant atheist stint, so when you guys, like, talked about him being in the IDW, I was like, huh? So I decided to look into him. I looked up to Sam Harris too much, so I don't want to really ruin that part of my brain quite yet. So I decided not to go with Sam Harris. But anyway,
We'll do that one day.
yeah. So I read a couple of his articles that he wrote for like different magazines and newspapers, and of course, he loves denying the gender wage gap. And like gender representation differences in universities and high education fields especially. So he said gender difference in representation in elite universities is explainable by some combination of biological differences in average temperaments and talents interacting with socialization and bias.
Ooh.
So women be bitches, I guess.
And they do be shopping.
And then another paper that I got like really into reading of his was this whole thing where he talks about like Ivy League colleges and how they're like declining in quality, but not for the reason you're thinking, not because they, you know, it was after the whole like Harvard came out or whatever school it was where parents had paid for admission, stuff like that.
It was Stanford.
Stanford. So he wrote a whole article about how Ivy League is declining, but his solution to this problem was more standardized testing.
What the fuck?
He said that there was a study with a large sample of precocious teenagers identified solely by high performance on the SAT and found that when they grew up, they not only excelled in academia, technology, medicine, and business, but won outsized recognition for their novels, plays, blah, blah, blah.
They're rich. Sorry.
And right before that, he's like, they should think causally rather than magically and know what it takes to distinguish causation from correlation and coincidence. And I just thought it was funny that he said that right before he was like, yeah, they did a study where they correlated high SAT performance with high life performance later on.
How'd that get there?
Yeah, exactly. And he used a lot of anecdotes in this article, and then he quoted a business school professor saying, I've observed many smart people who have little idea how to think logically, who infer causation from correlation, and who use anecdotes as evidence far beyond the predictability warranted. Which he did throughout the article, which I thought was hilarious. But he finally gets to the point in the last page of this fucking article that's like 10 pages long. We do have this magic measuring stick, of course. It's called standardized testing. After all, if the Ivies admitted the highest scoring kids at one end and companies hired the highest scoring graduates across all universities at the other, many of the perversities of the current system would vanish overnight. Which is just bullshit. But then I looked up I looked up multiple papers on standardized testing and how they like the scores of people in different economic classes and different races, and I found this lovely little graphic from a study in the 90s with over 85,000 SAT test takers. But basically, like, minorities score far lower, and then people in lower socioeconomic statuses score lower within each race as well. So even like white students in high socioeconomic status will score like a 27 on reading, and then low economic status will score a 21. So
have you guys heard of the sociologist who basically took this idea of standardized testing and made like a culturally competent SAT test, but it was kind of a joke, where it was basically like, you know, do you know who the actors are on the Cosby Show? Do you know like people in basketball? Let me see if I can find it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to add to that little tidbit in.
I did not.
So Amber, I don't know if you came across this in any of your digging into Mr. Pinker, but it's worth noting that he is actually a friend of the late Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, I did not.
Oh yeah, yep.
Wait, was he on the Black Book?
Yep.
And the island.
So. He testified. He defended him, if I remember correctly.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been photographed with him multiple times and called him, quote, one of my best friends.
All right then.
I know that was a pretty like drastic escalation, but
yeah,
you know, I think very early in my streaming days, there was a stream of mine where I covered all of the weird connections Epstein had to science, and Pinker was one of the biggest ones.
So wait, I'm trying to recall something other than the Epstein thing that I can like link Pinker to. Who's he tied to within like IDW space or like political space?
Pretty much anybody who does race science. I know he's done a lot of
Molly Meme.
I don't know if he's actually talked to Molly Meme, but I think Pinker has either written for Colette or has like amplified stuff that Colette puts out. And he's been on the like genes equal superiority game for a very long time now. Like years, and he actually had a legitimate like research background in like neurology and neuropsychology. Like my advisor has Pinker's books on his bookshelf because he was influential in that space.
Yeah, dude, he's a National Academies member.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like he's embedded into the institution pretty hard. And
Okay.
he just went off the fucking rails.
He does like what a lot of these guys do, I think, which is they get their credentials, they get full professor, whatever the fuck they need to be happy with themselves, and then they just go way overboard. Like they push their shit so like off the deep end. And I can't tell, maybe you guys know, is this like a clout thing, like the kind of narcissism, do you think?
It's a good question, because a lot of his books are outside of his cognitive psychology forte. You know, it's I don't. His research is a lot different than a lot of the books that he writes. So I would say
The main book by Pinker I know is The Blank Slate.
he has the new one like Rationality. I mean, they're somewhat involved, but they're not directly related to his research.
And one of his books is about like how I don't remember what's it called? The Angels of something.
Oh, the better angels within us.
Yeah, he talks about how like the poverty's getting better and stuff. And I watched like an entire 2-hour-long YouTube video that someone linked in Gremlo's chat about it. Even though they didn't link me the whole video, I decided to watch it anyway. But yeah, obviously he was not correct in that assumption, but.
I mean, I think overall, I mean, there's some like line drawing, you know, where we go on defining global poverty. But I do think in general, like, you know, violence as a whole, I would think that you could say violence as a whole has gone down over.
Depends on your metrics. That was in the video as well, except I wasn't paying attention as strongly during that part. But I was trying to make new alerts. But I can't remember.
I mean, as humans, in the natural world, if we were, you know, natural wild animals, we would be fighting for our life from an apex predator or something like that. You know, we don't fear for our lives every day from like a grizzly bear or something like that. We don't. There are people that do because of like violence in the streets, gang violence, or whatever type of gun violence. Obviously, that does exist, but you know, every day, every person doesn't like have that to deal with. I would argue.
But to answer your question, Professor Q, like these kinds of grifts that they do, you're right. They'll get their credentials, they'll get like their 10-year professorship, and then it's book, media tour. What are people who like have like CNN, Fox contributorship on mainstream outlets, and then like they'll get like conference speaker positions where they get like, you know, 5-10 grand for a 20-minute speech at the local like CPAC or TPUSA or Heritage Foundation, American Enterprise Institute, that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you though, it's not just limited to these IDW twats. Yep. I got into a fight with someone on Twitter, which is why I don't have Twitter anymore. Because they were complaining that they didn't get a $5,000 speaker fee, or what they weren't able to get a $5,000 speaker fee for their speaker. I won't tell you how it devolved from there, but you know, it was at a time when there were lines in California for food, and I was like, you know, this is a little tone deaf. And then I looked her up, and she's got an agent who handles all of her bookings. I mean, you know, fuck.
Yeah, it's a giant grift.
Well, so I mean, it sounded like that person like didn't need it, but at least like in my understanding, and I think Professor Q, you could probably empathize with this, sort of in that like framework for academic grifters to really set up shop. Like it almost seems like the base pay for people who sacrifice time to like, go get a PhD after they're done really isn't that great, and so they kind of get locked into that like, I got to keep up with the Joneses type mentality, and they have to, you know, start taking these like speaker fees and whatever opportunities come their way, even if they're doing it to like help out the Heritage Foundation or, you know, manufacture consent against their own field or something like that. Like it almost seems based in actual like deficiency of material conditions.
Yeah,
at least
I'd agree with
in
that.
a lot of people that I've seen.
I would agree with that too. They're getting this kind of like book. They're writing books constantly, and now they have to like they're in this book signing tour, and then they go through whatever it is, and then they start associating themselves with weird stuff. Because I mean, probably it's interesting that I knew you were gonna say this, Amber, but I didn't know you were gonna go first. But unlike anyone else, I would say that Pinker is different than a lot of the people that we're going to talk about today, probably just because he's been accepted in the academic world. I would argue more so than anyone else. Like Jordan Peterson, for example, is kind of like, in academia, he wasn't really successful. Brett Weinstein, not really successful. He's kind of a failed academic. Obviously, his dissertation, as Marcus has gone over many times. But like, I feel like it's different. I don't know why he was accepted in the National Academy of Sciences. But then again, I'm not a clinical psychologist. I don't really understand the field well enough to say so.
Well, so now I'm actually just noticing a similarity. Both Pinker and Jordan Peterson, they're both Canadian psychologists. Canada's not sending their best.
Yep.
Pinker says
best.
His work is kind of like a continuation of Chomsky, which is kind of interesting that he frames himself like that. Yeah.
That's wild.
He minimalizes poverty struggles all the time.
Chomsky's a linguist.
Yeah, what does Pinker have to do about linguistics?
So
he's a psycholinguist.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And the book I know, he talks about how he thinks that language is universal, and that he connects language to all other kinds of things. And so, I don't know, from what I know of him, maybe that's how he kind of got started on this. I don't know. What did you find, Amber?
He pretty much started with language, like the language instinct, and then started talking a little bit more about psychology, and then skepticism, humanism, and then the Better Angels of Our Nature in 2011. But yeah, pretty much around, let's see, 2002, he starts kind of going off on the skeptic, more like politically involved stuff, but really in 2013 he hit his stride about that. But
I think research wise, at least his first research stuff to me was really interesting. This whole idea are we born blank, right? Or do we have something inside of us? But beyond that, y'all are totally spot on. He kind of went,
So that actually explains why my advisor probably has his books, because he does a lot of work in neurodevelopment. So that actually, I think, aligns pretty well in terms of how we develop language. Because I remember, God, a long time ago, I think it was when I was trying to take the MCAT, and I remember actually reading about that debate about the universality of language, whether it's there's some sort of language center in the brain, or if it's simply an acquired behavior from existing around your parents and other kids and people in general. But to me, it's wild how you can take what is legitimate academic work and use that as a scaffold to just be fucking insane on main. Is tenure really that effective of a shield? Can you just do whatever the fuck you want with tenure?
Well, he's not a full-time professor anymore. He's a guest lecture professor now, but
okay, so right now he's not even formally in academia. He's just a prominent personality.
Johnstone Family Professor of Psychology at Harvard University, but I read something that he's not full-time anymore. Hold on.
Yeah, well, another thing I've noticed about these elite folk, most of them are guys, but they tend to the higher you go, the less you work and the more pay you get. It's completely backwards from what it really should be.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of representation and genders among academia, This is a total aside. You guys see that UPenn law professor that was talking to Tucker Carlson doing great replacement theory stuff?
Miss a week, miss a lot. Fuck.
Yeah, I saw her, and I didn't like. I actually probably should do this at some point. Like after I saw that, I wanted to go look her up and see, one, if she had tenure, and two, like if she's just been like low key doing this shit on Twitter and then finally got amplified by the right wing media machine, or if this is like her first moment in the conservative limelight where she just went mask off.
Oh, what a first moment it was. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to see if anybody else had seen that.
No, I saw it and it was fucking insane.
I can't remember her name. I can look her up real quick, but she did an interview with Tucker Carlson, was talking about like South Asian students coming over on a scholarship or whatever it is, and then complaining about how racist the country and like its institutions are and how they should just be grateful that they're here at all.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. One of those, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see.
Yeah, Amber, was there anything else you wanted to add with respect to Pinker, or I'll just open it up to anybody else?
Professor Amy Wax is her name.
Amy Wax. All right, I'm gonna have to write that down.
I don't really have anything else to add with him. But
most people's little black books are, for other things. Marcus's little black book is for, people he wants to take down in science. I love it, man. Love it.
Well, I mean, honestly, if we want the institution to function in a decent way, we should probably work on doing some of this shit.
Welcome to I'm just fucking with you.
Welcome to the peer review. That's the whole point.
Yeah, pretty much. We are the peers doing the review. Shout out to Greg's username.
That's where I got it from, I'm like, fuck. And I do want to say that that's how I see it too, where it's like we're not above these people, I guess, like, because I could be wrong in some of my opinions too. I hope that if I was ever wrong, I would say so and admit it and change my mind. I think that's like the real onus of a scientist, to say
most
that.
Most of them are above me in that regard. PhD havers.
Like, for example, like Frances Arnold, someone that I really look up to in her experimental design and just amazing work on directed evolution. She had a paper from her lab, it was either cover of Science or, it was in Science Mag. And they came back later and they were like, you know what, this actually doesn't replicate. And she took to Twitter and said, hey, this is part of my life where I wasn't really paying attention to lab and I should have been. She was getting the Nobel Prize that year. So she was, and said, hey, I retract this. I was wrong. And I respected her more because of that. So,
yeah.
Nice.
Well, all right. Go ahead.
I was going to just say, if you want, I can always segue into what I've got.
Yeah, I think yours is a very... yours was like the fine-aged wine equivalent of a chud. Like, you pulled that one out of the cellar, Professor Q. Goddamn.
Well, so first off, I probably did the least work out of everybody here because I talk about this stuff in my criminology course and also in my deviance course, and also I'm kind of up on some of this stuff. But so a lot of the race science stuff you can trace back to Cesar Lombroso, who's a famous criminologist. He's basically the founder, one of the two founders of criminology. And when I introduce him, even in my classes, I call him my favorite racist Northern Italian. And the reason is because I'll save that joke till the end. But Lombroso was really interested in if he could figure out if there are characteristics that distinguish criminals from non-criminals. And so what he did was he went to prisons. Looked at the inmates, measured their skulls, their noses, their eyes, to see if there were any kind of things about them that might explain why they're criminal. And so he developed a list, and among those items on the list are left-handedness. So all of the left-handies in the house.
But all the lefties in jail.
If you had an elongated forehead, cleft chin, lazy eye, long nose.
Wide nose, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's like if you decode it, you're like, oh, he's talking about Jewish people. He's talking about like all these tropes that we now kind of recognize. But again, so all of the features that he described are of Southern Italians. So he's basically being racist against Southern Italians.
Why would you think to
Fradophobia is such an issue?
Why would you think to measure convicts' nose width?
So. Yeah, so he's writing at a time when phrenology is actually kind of a legitimate science in anthropology. And so kind of the ideas floating around at the time led him to this. This idea that basically any kind of, what do I want to say, I may do a clumsy job of explaining this, so please don't cancel me, but any kind of thing that might set you apart from society would be manifest on your physical being. So your morals are manifest on the outside. Which, of course, we know, like, today, we can look back and go, oh, yeah, that's fucking stupid. But he's basically the person who kind of gives birth to this idea within science, and is then kind of, you can see the ripples throughout. And one of the things that I gave Marcus to show was, and also I posted in the Discord, this stuff doesn't die out. There's still people in psychology, in anthropology, not so much sociology these days, but they all kind of are looking for this mechanism by which to either identify criminals beforehand, so what traits criminals have, or as is becoming really popular, using facial recognition systems to identify criminal traits. And
can't imagine how that would go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is this tired old, now centuries old junk science that just keeps replicating itself. It's the same fucking story, and that's kind of what bothers me about it.
Here, I'm gonna make a sing tube real quick with some of the videos that I think maybe I don't know what the third one is. What is the third one with the face?
Oh, so the third one was the one I thought that was stream appropriate because this is a real company that I think Trump had holdings in at one point that uses this kind of science. It's basically the modern day version of Lombroso's theory. And I'm not calling anyone out, Maddie. I mean, there are people in forensic anthropology that do good work, but definitely there's, some history in that field. So, but I'm sure you recognize it because you're here with us.
Yeah, and actually, give me a second. SingTube is not cooperating very well, so. Oh, I got to. There we go. Okay.
Chaz says it sounds like a new version of 1350, which, ironically, it's the original 1350.
I was just about to say, like, this is the ancient version.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think
vanilla.
If you guys want, there is I think there was a short video that I put in there of his stuff.
Yeah, I'm putting all three of the videos into a SingTube. So I think I'll put this in the ministry chat. See if that works for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what do I go to? Oh, did you put it in chat?
It's in ministry only.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this is, this one's like a short higher level video that kind of just goes through what I just said about Lombroso and shows some of the original text, so you can kind of see just like exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm looking at the chat in this, and it gives us all funny names: Stunning Effort, Huge Account, Woozy Angle, and Bumpy Hour.
Yeah, I think I'm illiterate insurance.
Oh, hang on.
No, but what's your name in the thing?
I'm Stunning Effort.
I'm Woozy Angle, so apparently I'm drunk.
All right, let me just make sure the show's okay on stream. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a adjustment here to the size. All right, let me know when all of you are ready to play. All right, and click.
Program is brought to you by Emory University.
Why is my name Bumpy Hour in this fucking...
Ew.
My hump.
Cesare Lombroso, he's known
I can't hear.
as Italian from Turin, and he
There we go.
died in 1909, and so he's known as the father of modern criminology. And he looked at what were the causes of criminology by looking at physical features. Now, people poo-poo this, but in a way, he was trying to at least say that insanity was something physiological, and we could probably figure out so it was something organic. And so he would take pictures of criminals and look at their faces, and so
I think I saw Grimlow in there.
criminals were more likely, and he said also people who use the word idiots, because that was a diagnosis, were more apt to be left-handed than left-sided. And therefore, he said that, and people he said already knew this because they were excited, trusted. And he did this big study. He's a very famous guy. And he wrote a book, Criminal Man, and he wrote a book, Criminal Woman. So he wrote all these things, and they seem so extreme that everyone sort of said, oh, we would never believe this. But if you look at current research, almost all the questions that Lombroso raised are the very things. Our language is different. We don't call people idiots. Now we call them they suffer.
Budget Richard Wolf.
We don't call these.
Yeah, it's the most entertaining I could find.
Dude looks exactly like Richard Wolf.
I swear, I need to hire somebody and do one of these. That's like, funny. Put all my jokes in.
It reminds us, on the one hand, that no matter how persuasive because he fit into the whole milieu of what people were doing in the late 19th century. He wasn't an outlier at all. In fact, he was the father of most of this stuff. So it reminds us that we always have to be skeptical of our current scientific claims as if we now have the final answer. And the other thing it reminds us is that certain questions are really persistent despite everything else.
All right, that's it.
I mean, that was a long-form way of just saying he does phrenology.
I mean, yeah. He's an old academic. Come on, cut the guy some slack. But, yeah, I mean, like, some of this stuff that, like, still goes on in this field, don't show this one. This one's, like, too long. It's boring. It's a snooze fest. But,
got it. Okay.
Yeah, so don't show this. So let me just kind of preface this video. So this is a real video by a company called Faceception, and holy shit, like, it's not a meme, but fuck, it could be. Like, seriously, my class cracks up every time I show it, and I'm like, this is a real fucking thing. So basically, like, okay, you all know what Lombroso is now. So here is how Lombroso's theories are kind of still out there, still manifest.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit play in 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
go.
I exited out.
Yeah, me too.
Oh
No!
shit! Sorry, I'll
I
wait.
thought that was the
I'll
only
wait.
video. Okay. Oh,
Personality profiling company.
Yeah. And
Oh,
of course,
dear
Joker
God.
memes, right?
Okay.
Dude, that
All
fucking
right,
movie.
let me know when you're both
we're
ready.
good.
Am I excited or terrified? Who knows?
Computer vision and machine learning technology to conduct facial personality profiling at scale and in real time. Facial analysis technologies today mostly focus on facial recognition, which means matching a face to a known individual For example, a
Yeah,
terrorist.
he looks like a
But
terrorist.
what about
right?
the people that are not in the database?
Uh-oh.
What do we really know about them? Well,
Ooh.
according to field of
Ginger.
life science research, our personality is determined by our DNA and reflected in our face. With our technology, all of a sudden, we know so much more about a person we just saw. Our mission is to
I don't know about
decision-making,
this.
communication.
I'm telling you,
and
it's not.
experience.
It's a real
We can help
thing. It's a
detect
real thing.
cities,
I promise.
personalize communication,
I
and
don't
analyze
know.
crowds.
Like it's junk
November
science,
13,
but it's real.
2015, Paris was
It's
attacked.
what?
Only 3 of the 11
So it's
terrorists
total
chud
junk
science.
science.
previous record.
Oh, okay.
Our
Okay.
technology
Junk science.
classified 9 of them as potential terrorists with no prior knowledge.
I thought you were
That's
showing
why
us this as
we're
like
working
a
with the
serious
leading
example,
Homeland
and I was
Security
like,
agency.
Oh no, not at
People
all.
of worth.
Primary focus is on homeland security and
Professor
public
Q,
safety,
are
and
you
our
okay?
technology is applicable to other verticals, such as
I've been a
financial
secret race
services,
scientist this whole
marketing,
time.
and
Oh,
artificial
God.
intelligence. To
Yeah,
date,
so
we
wait a
developed
second. Pause it
15
real quick.
different
Pause it real
classifiers
quick.
and tested them
Oh,
successfully.
hang
Oh
on.
shit. Never
including a
mind.
professional
Here, I'll go back.
Yeah, go back like 2-3 seconds. Like hardly
Right here?
any. No, go back when it shows the top there. I just want to point something out.
Here?
Keep going. Here we go. There. So you see up the top it says pro poker players, MMA fighters, white collar offenders, terrorists. So they claim they can successfully pick the World Series of Poker winner from like what the fuck, man? Come on. Anyway, you can.
When I
you
can do that too, it's the casino.
Yes. Yeah. So go ahead, hit it.
poker player classifier that you see here in action. And by the way, we were able to predict 2 of the top 3 finalists in a poker tournament held at the 500 Startups Accelerator. We have a very seasoned team with great personalities. We believe this is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. Join us in this revolution, Faceception.
Faceception.
Anyone want to invest?
I mean, that's a very interesting like application of those ideas. I mean, I guess it really illustrates the point that they're still sticking around. How long ago did this guy like live? What did he die in like
Lombroso, 1900s. Fuck. I actually don't have that right in front of me. Lombroso.
I'm
I
just
mean, say
wondering
what you
how
will
far
about-
removed. Go ahead.
Say what you will about facial recognition technology, but I feel like that's an entirely different beast. You know, like going from trying to recognize criminals through facial recognition may feel one way or the other, but like judging someone as a potential terrorist because they match like the average look of a terrorist, like that's extremely different, I think.
So I kind of agree with you, except they're still doing the same things of measuring faces, like.
Yeah, but they're not like saying you have like personality or core attributes based off of that. They're just like, oh, this person looks like this person that we're looking for, kind of thing. Instead of, oh, this person has these facial features. They're probably a terrorist.
So here's the thing. That's exactly what this does, because they take their database is of known offenders and then they scan people in the line. They're not looking for, I mean, they can find potential people from it, but what they're doing is they're trying to predict human behavior, predict who's
Right,
going to be
and
a
that's
terrorist.
that's the problem. The predictable part. Like I guess in facial recognition technology, the only like use I've ever heard it applied to is like finding criminals with security cameras that are all over a city by like, oh, this person's face has the same bone structure, the same nose, like that kind of stuff. So with this, it's like they're, inferring or attempting to infer activity or traits or whatever based off of facial structure, which to me is very different. But I know that's probably not a distinction a lot of people make, but I just thought that'd be important to bring up, is that the facial recognition stuff that most people do nowadays.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Not predicting criminal behavior. It's like identifying people. Whether or not
Right.
you agree with it, beside the point, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, a good point. For sure.
Well, I mean, couldn't one lead to the other? Like, if you're collecting faces of just random ass people in public to, sweep up in, I guess, like a digital dragnet of sorts, what if your face happens to have, the perfect blend of facial features that might predict that you're going to be a white collar criminal in 10 years? Like,
right. No, I know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like it's almost like comparing mugshots for criminals. I'm trying to like differentiate the two because it came up in my chat. So like, right now with facial recognition, they're trying to do this thing where they can like see criminals in public based off security camera footage because their face is, analyzed and measures up. But like, I'm saying the prediction part is like the thing that they're trying to sell here. Like, this person has an 80% chance of being a terrorist. Like, that's not cool at all, no matter where you sit on the facial recognition thing.
Yeah,
right. There's a whole field of this, by the way, if anybody's interested. There's a great documentary I show in class called Pre-Crime, and it's basically about what we call predictive policing, and they're basically using, unfortunately, a lot of sociology, a lot of this facial recognition stuff, cell phone data. Amazon's involved in it. I'm not sure if Google is or not, but I know Amazon and I think Apple and Facebook all kind of sell this data to third-party clients who then contract with the FBI and other local law enforcement agencies to use this stuff. And so Chicago and St. Louis were both test grounds for this, but there's been other cities that have used this. I think LA may use it, but yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, on the facial recognition side, and on the policing side, Apple is working on software for their facial recognition stuff to like unlock your phone and stuff like that for security that can still read your face even if you have like a mask on during COVID.
They've already distributed it.
Oh,
they've already created it. Perfect. It's on my phone.
Yeah, which is not
because I have to wear a mask at work, so it's been a blessing for me because not being able to Face ID open my phone was a bitch with the mask on and gloves on, and you're like you have to change your gloves every time you type in your passcode, but
like it's
but
good
I can
for, like,
see why that'd be a problem.
Yeah, it's good for convenience, but if you're someone who may be engaging in certain forms of direct action, that kind of software existing is not good.
It's not very reliable, to be fair.
Yeah.
You have to like look down so that they can like see your brow structure, and it only works like 30% of the time, but it's better than nothing. For me, for my phone.
It's so wild. I mean, there's so much, like, I think of like all the things that about me that could have been used by Lombroso or even his contemporaries. Maybe that's why I was getting in trouble so much when I was a kid. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, part of why this guy was a good one to bring up, it just shows you how beyond his generation, how his ideas are still very much here. Like, regardless of how we're applying them and how they could or couldn't be applied, like, we're still wrestling with them. Like Gremlo said, it was 1350 vanilla, and here we are, using other really poor justifications to prop up the same exact idea. I mean, is this just a, history or time as a flat circle type of deal? Like, I guess, how do we go about, like, not having that idea be as central to, I guess, thought and even entrepreneurship in terms of the facial recognition software as it actually is? Like, how do we counter it?
Yeah, I've seen... Go ahead.
Yeah, so I posted also in the Discord, there's a 2010 article from Evolution in Human Behavior, and it's a group of researchers who are trying to see if their participants could distinguish between violent and non-violent sex offenders at a glance. And they claim that they had really high scores for this, but there used to be like one of those Facebook games. So someone had taken their research and put it into like this game, and I used to play it in class with the students with the eye clickers. And I could never get more than, I think, 30%. And so, 1/3 of the class, that's, chance. All right. But, yeah, I haven't followed up to see. Oh, my God, this thing has 49 citations.
Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck.
I've seen facial recognition software, like pieces done on areas in China that are using it for like building security, where it basically, as you're approaching the building, it scans you, make sure that you're within the database, that you're whitelisted for the access for security, but that also do it for when you walk up to like vending machines, and it'll like read you and predict what you want. But it's very weird, and like China's situation with technology is sometimes like really, really cool, at the same time very, very scary.
Very scary. I love the first sentence of this article, though. A growing body of literature in evolutionary psychologists suggests a person's perception processes are adaptively tuned. Oh, fuck, man.
Hopefully they're citing it to, like, shit on it and not cite it to, agree with it. Because I know that can happen, too, so...
No, I was just trying to dig. Because now I'm like, who the fuck is citing this?
Usually don't do that.
Oh my god, no.
Usually it'll be like people in this field, or some in this field say you don't want to like, it's kind of like bad form to cite people, like hate cite people.
It's my optimism, all right?
Oh my god.
Greg, at this point, considering how many fucking chuds there are who abuse the system, I'm pro hate citing. I want to hate cite as much as possible. It's like hate watching on Twitch, but for scientists.
Well, the problem is that it really does drive people to their publication, because it's more cited, so people think it's more legitimate.
Yeah.
And
that actually, so I'm a reviewer for a journal now, so I'm seeing how that plays out. Ooh. And like, what happens is the journal gets an article, then like I assign it reviewers, and the ones that it suggests to me are the people who are most published, right? So they rise to the top. It shows me they're most cited. So I imagine a lot of people just click on the suggested people to review the work. So that means you're just like recreating the wheel. Like you're reproducing all this bullshit.
It's like Twitch.
Yes.
People with the most viewers at the top, so the viewers click those streamers. And then the rich get richer.
These are how inequalities persist and work.
True.
So then, like, let's say within the framework of like an actual publication, like I kind of agree with the notion that it would be nice if people were able to take a work and be like, hey, this is flawed because of these reasons. Like, are you just limited to letters to the editors at that point? Like, can you actually get around that talking about something without citing it and helping juice it up a little bit problem?
Can you reframe that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I mean, like, can you actually, like, let's say I was in Evo Psych and I wanted to shit on something that Jordan Peterson said, in an actual publication, like without actually citing one of his papers. How can I do that?
In an academic setting, I'm not sure how. Which is kind of fucked up, right?
Right.
And also, I had a conversation with a colleague about this. The way that we prove our productivity is it's just a computer system that fucking we log in, we tell it, import our stuff over, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, as long as it's getting momentum. Like, it doesn't differentiate between good or bad.
Yeah, but like I guess the underlying problem then is like, where is there a venue to talk about people like not doing things in good faith or publishing outright, crazy shit, like Brett Weinstein tiered evolutionary theory? Like, if I wanted to talk, cite something of his, now I'm helping him. Like,
Can you,
is there no venue for that?
Can you talk like shadow site almost, like give the name of the article and the author and then do it that way? Or I mean, that's not including their article for like context, I guess. But
I don't know. I've never actually tried that. That's a really good question, because there's been a couple. I have an article somewhere in one of these freaking piles going after somebody who has in Soch that I've been wanting to write this forever, but yeah, I don't really know that there is, right? Because on the other side of this argument is you should be able to go read their work. Like, don't take my word for it, right? Go read it yourself with a critical eye. But at a certain point, like, it doesn't matter if he gets another 1 or 2 citations. Like that the algorithms and everything that pump us up in academia, at a certain point, it's like, okay, you're in the top tier. You're good enough, you know?
That just seems so broken. I mean, that's probably a separate conversation from tonight, but like, it kind of, like you said, it perpetuates the inequity. Like, you know, Steven Pinker just does whatever he wants and does something legitimate, gets to a certain tier, and then decides he wants to, like, do race science and be friends with a pedophile, and now here he is in the upper echelon, and where's the accountability? Like, that's kind of where my head lies in that circumstance like that. You know, aside from being canceled, you know, what else is there?
I mean, you know, in an ideal world, I don't know, people like Dave having a fucking website where he lists all of these idiots, and hopefully get some traction. You know, I mentioned to you that I wanted to throw your name on a paper to try to get in somewhere going after some of these folks, because you have the science background that I don't. And could help with that. So that's like a summer project I want to do. Oddly enough, though, like you saw, I tried to get that article pitched to the conversation, and they rejected it twice. They're like, "Oh no, we don't fucking care." Like, really? But there's other there's some other media outlets that I haven't reached out to that someone I know on the inside thinks might be interested. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I guess we just manufacture our own consent then. That's the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about being a public academic is that you know, we are right now outside of the system, right? So we can criticize it, can say things, we can do things that you can't do in a real formalized setting.
Until the Ministry of Science is institutionalized.
True, actually. Yeah, dude, I can't fucking wait. Can't wait till I can shit talk the CDC director and like get away with it and actually get her fired. Anyways, besides the point. Go ahead.
Then one day when we have 34,000 viewers and can buy $1 million house in West Hollywood.
Yeah,
don't forget the Porsche too.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get back.
I'm more of a Hyundai kind of guy, but okay.
Well, the most expensive Hyundai of your choice. There we go. Let's compromise there. All right, let's get back onto Chud's show and tell. We got Amber went, and then Professor Q also just went. So either Greg or Grimlow. Oh yeah, all right, Greg, you're up then.
Okay. So mine is Paul Cottrell. So Paul Cottrell is deep into the anti-vax circles. Paul Cottrell is basically when you're an anti-vaxxer and you want to look at someone that is doing quote-unquote real science that isn't somehow related to these failed quote-unquote, you know, scientific establishments, you're going to be linked Paul Cottrell, and it's going to be one of those like, this guy's actually doing the real science kind of things. Of course, he doesn't have a YouTube channel because he's banned on there, and but he has a Rumble.
Deplatforming.
Yeah, so he's on Rumble, and that's where he posts a lot of his stuff. So it's a grab bag of all the conspiracy theories, and it's even crazier than you could even expect. He links, like, for example, he has a video where he links 9/11 to the SARS-CoV-2 creation. That's a good one. That's a good one. But the thing that I have a problem with him is that he goes by by doctor, even though he has his doctorate is in economics, and it's very, very tenuous. He hasn't published any of his chapters of his thesis, and honestly, like, reading his thesis wasn't his dissertation was not good. So, and basically what happens is that he goes around, he calls himself Dr. Paul Cottrell, and he's apparently in medical school, even though he's apparently going to a medical school where even his Twitter says that he's going to a medical school, but then you go to the medical school of the school and it hasn't existed for 100 years. So I don't know how he claims that, but he calls himself doctor, and since he's quote unquote going to medical school, he shows up in scrubs a lot. So it's like calling himself doctor with an economics PhD, and he calls himself doctor. I think he's portraying himself as an alleged like MD. That's what I feel like that he's trying to do. He's apparently
it's a cool trick. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna start wearing a white lab coat to work.
Yeah, I mean, because it's one of those things where it's like he also he hangs out in scrubs and also has a stethoscope sometimes, which is very weird. Like, I don't know if you guys know anyone in medical school, but like they don't hang out in their scrubs. They don't because it's gross, dude. Why would you hang out? It's like people that wear their lab coats like outside of the lab. Like if you got to take that off. That's the whole point of them. So
how will we know though?
Yeah, exactly. God, I hate those people. So, and I think, look, I don't think that anyone should believe me on my academic credentials, and I don't like Marcus, when I first heard about him, he put his name in his Twitter, so I'm doing an academic search on his paper, on his name, and I'm reading his paper and his publication and stuff like that. I'm not trusting him to give me his information. And it'd be the same way with me, hopefully, you could see my work in my publications, and that's been peer reviewed and that's published. This guy though, this guy does not have any publications. Instead, he self-publishes books on Amazon, on Amazon Books.
Oh,
so
fuck.
He, here we go. I can link this in Marcus's chat. So he self-publishes books. He apparently went and did some type of extended learning course or something at Harvard, did one of those online courses, and then that basically became his research, quote unquote, at Harvard, and he published a book on genetics. I really want to buy this book and read it just to see the mumbo jumbo, but I'm pretty sure he just took his notes from the class and then just published it. I'm
looking at one of his books, Adventures in Endocrinology, as if he journeyed to a fucking pancreas, like he's on the magic school bus. What?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
unbelievable.
It's crazy. It's really frustrating because
has he actually published anything in an academic outlet?
So if you're in these anti-vax circles, yes. And what they do is they'll link to preprint publications. He basically puts them all on preprints, and he basically takes these chapters, these things, these books that he has, and then he'll publish them on the preprint, public, quote unquote, publish. Obviously, preprint servers, if you don't know, this is an idea of how to make science more accessible by creating, removing that bar of, and that,
Wall.
yeah, that wall, a publication wall. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's saying, hey, this publication might take, sometimes 6 months to a year through peer review to get through. So you know what, we're going to put it on a preprint to let people know that we're doing it. One, so nobody else does it. That's kind of like, it's nice for the academic community. Two, it helps us get more feedback. And then three, kind of just like generates buzz around your publication, right? So people can kind of like still like look for it. They are not, I repeat, they are not in lieu of peer review publications. Like, this is very, very frustrating. Very frustrating to see preprints used like this, and you see these with people in the COVID pandemic, where people will be putting things on these preprint servers, and it gets you this fancy link, it gets you this fancy thing, and you can like share it, and makes people like, it makes it seem legitimate, more legitimate than it is. And it's a big problem. It's a big problem. I think the best way to, like, honestly, I linked it. It's a podcast that he did. I like to go to see how crazy he is on, just in general. I would say allegedly crazy. You could go to his views on climate change, which are just woo. He basically doesn't believe in climate change because of Greta Thunberg. Just doesn't accept it as a valid theory because she's like this big worker and theorist, and she's doing all this stuff, and for what she is, she's a person that cares a lot about climate change and the earth and humans existing on it. And I respect that from her. I don't think that she's a scientist. I don't think that she would even say she's a scientist. So really putting her out as like the head of this, like she's actually doing the IPCC reports herself. It's ridiculous. So that's, yeah, it's really frustrating for me. I've had anti-vaxxers link me his stuff constantly. They'll be like, anti-vax isn't real, vaccine isn't real, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why would you think that? And then they would basically link me like 8 hours of Paul Cottrell and be like, this is what you need to think about. So, yeah, that's wow. Him. He has like 3-hour videos on Rumble and stuff like that. So we can't really have anything to like digest or anything.
So I got a question about him. So I looked him up. Is he basically just trying to drive traffic to Amazon to boost his book sales to make money? Is that like his grift?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I think that he put stuff on Amazon in order to make himself look like he published something, like an academic work or something like that.
So Greg,
yeah.
I know we don't usually like feed the brain rot, but
yeah.
Just to see what your reaction to this is. Mm-hmm. Someone in my chat says, I wish he would define what an anti-vaxxer is to him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, basically, Paul Cottrell's in the like kind of like the NWO big. All the science labs are in on it.
New World Order, for those who don't know what NWO is.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, thank you.
Also a base wrestling group back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Hulk Hogan, dude. Hulk Hogan going to the NWO. Can we talk about that for a second? That was crazy.
Is that dark beard era Hulk Hogan?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a and apparently, okay, this is crazy. So this dude is going to medical school at a school that even says they haven't had a medical school in 100 years. And apparently he does research on the side with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Yeah. Big quote. So
Guillain-Barré syndrome?
Yeah, so Guillain-Barré is a legitimate condition that can happen as a result from a vaccine. Honestly, Marcus could explain the mechanics better than me.
Yeah, so at least with Guillain-Barré, like it's your first part of that I think was spot on, Greg. Like it's something that can happen as a result of vaccines, but it's more frequent after like actual infections. It's another one of these like the actual virus or the actual pathogen will do it to people at a higher frequency than vaccines. But even long before COVID vaccines, Guillain-Barré syndrome has absolutely been like a vaccine adverse effect for a variety of vaccines. It's infrequent, but at least say with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, for example, they put a black box warning on that vaccine because it genuinely did increase the risk of that happening. So in COVID, like that's something that's very trepidatious to navigate because it's a thing with J&J, but everybody extends that to all the vaccines, and it's actually even worse when the virus actually has its way with you. So, it's a brain disease. That's where I think all you really need to know about the pathophysiology. We can cover more later if you're really interested.
But like anti-vaxxer, so like how would we classify this? Very very shortly, so we can get back to your thing because it's a dumb chatter.
Oh no, you're fine. So, Greg, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I would say anyone that, I would say anti-vaxxer. So people are gonna. So the thing is that from their viewpoint, they'll say I'm a vaccine skeptic, or even that if you take it really, really on their points, they'll say actually I was up for vaccines before this, but this is really experimental technology, and I don't believe in this vaccine. So they're vaccine skeptical. They'll couch their views on something like that. I would say it's anyone that thinks. I would say anti-vaxxer in general is anyone that actually thinks that the vaccine is going to cause more harm than SARS-CoV-2. That's how I'd generally like say it.
Right.
And the mRNA vaccine does not cause more harm than the SARS-CoV-2 virus at all. There's some risk, obviously, and this is why you should consult your doctor. And I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. For some people, I would assume maybe that taking the SARS-CoV-2 vaccine isn't the best, but for the vast majority of people, it's okay. So yeah, I would say anyone that it's kind of like a scale where, and if you tilt vaccines doing more harm than the virus, I would say that's an anti-vaxxer, and he's definitely on that scale.
I think that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, I'd also just add to that real quick too. Like people who refuse any vaccine, whether it's COVID or not, and they don't actually take the scientific data seriously. Like they will reject data in favor of conspiracy theory or preconceived notions that they have that they're unwilling to part with. I think that also I would lump into that definition that Greg gave, simply because there are a lot of people who at this point have really dug their heels into insert position here about vaccines. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a.
So what's what? I was just gonna say, guys like him really make me mad because they are speaking. Actually, I should be mad at the academics themselves, but guys like him speak to like a wide audience, and they're able to like really kind of draw people in with these ideas that are like patently false.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's kind of like an obvious shift that happens when this happened, where they kind of seize the moment. Malone's kind of the same way. Robert Malone, he did legitimate research in the early '90s, late '80s on delivering RNA to mice, and they confirmed that by delivering GFP with green fluorescent protein. And that's legitimate. Like it happened. But the idea that he like developed a vaccine, or that he's the inventor of the mRNA vaccine is completely bunk. But yet he's kind of like reinvented himself in lieu of the pandemic, and now he's a world expert, and now he's able to take advantage of this scenario and kind of like re-couch himself. At least in that case, Malone actually has some science background. Okay, Paul Cottrell has none. Like I'm nothing against him. I've never seen anything that he's published. I actually really want to try to talk to this guy, being like, what have you published, man? Like, can I look at a manuscript that you're writing or something, like anything? And if you know anyone that's been in medical school, They don't have time to do research on the side. That's what I don't understand. They don't have time. You do technically, if you are doing an MD and you want to get your master's, my friend did this. He wanted to get his master's as well because he thought it was going to help him get into a competitive residency later. So he did do research, and it was very difficult. It was in the middle of kind of like his program. It wasn't at the very beginning like he was. And my medical school friends have never worn their scrubs or a stethoscope around. So, because if you imagine, he's not doing this like at the, he's not doing this at the hospital, right? Or wherever his med school is. So he's going home either with his stethoscope around his neck or either he's keeping it on or he's putting it on for the video. So it would be like me like showing up in my lab coat, my gloves and my pipettes. And I'm like, here I am. Like I'm doing molecular biology, guys. And you're like,
you dress for the job you want to have.
Yeah, exactly. So, but someone like this, I think it's pretty obvious that he's not legitimate in who he says he is, allegedly, because he hasn't published anything. I haven't seen anything that's from him where people have like peer reviewed his stuff and said it's okay. And that's where I think we can really, for people that are watching, or it's like, how do you know if you're being grifted? I think a good way is like seeing peers, how they react to their content. Are they is it okay? Are they ripping it apart? Are they are people building off of it? Are they citing that research? That's what we were talking about before. That's why it's so important. If you develop something and then someone else cites it, and it becomes very popular, that means that people are reproducing that data, and that means that it's legitimate, right? But a lot of people that are trying to build themselves up, reinvent themselves, I don't know. It just makes me really frustrated because a lot of people in good faith are trying to educate themselves about, and they don't feel. But this is the thing, right? These people that go to Paul Cottrell, they don't trust the academic world because every single scientist is in on it.
It's all part of the global elite new world order that's trying to put microchips in you or make you magnetic. Which if they're gonna do that, that's kind of cool. But
I wish there's no way. There's no way. I mean,
I would never lose my keys again.
I mean,
Well, see, but you couldn't control it. That's the worst part. The keys are always stuck to you.
You'd have to get like a special
wallet. That woman testify to Congress and try to
Sherry Tenpenny
make an absolute fool of herself. That was fucking.
You're not magnetic, lady. You're just sticky.
We watched that.
Sweaty. Really clammy. Really clammy.
My professor played that for our biotech class. And we were all just sitting there like laughing our asses off.
I mean, the guy that introduced me to Paul Cottrell was like one of the guys that was like, he goes, he thought that every single science lab in the world was all in on this vaccine. Every single science lab. I was like, who are they though? Like in the lab, like I work in a lab. Like who are they? Are they grad students? Are they interns? Are they professors? Like are postdocs? Like what level are they infiltrating these labs at? He's like, they're everywhere, man. They're like everywhere. And I'm like, I don't see him, dude. I don't see him. And I was like, you know what, dude? Like I'm in a scientist lab. I'm a scientist in a lab. Like, am I in on it? And he's like, no, I think you're one of the good ones. So I was like, all right. So maybe he doesn't think that all scientists are in on it. So maybe that's like our agree to disagree moment, So.
If they know you personally, and they like you, you're not part of the conspiracy. You know?
Well, I mean, and honestly, that's kind of like the reason why I exist and I'm still in these anti-vax circles and stuff like that. So, hopefully when that person is thinking about this grand conspiracy, hopefully he thinks like, hey, maybe all scientists aren't in on it. Maybe it's like one way to notch down from his grand conspiracy into a little less grand conspiracy.
Just tone it down like 3 notches.
Yeah, and maybe it can help him. I don't know.
Of some sort.
Yeah.
It's like when conservatives meet like a LGBTQ person. Most of the time, they soften their view. Not all the time, but
not all the time. Someone asked in chat, whatever happened to the demon sperm lady?
What?
He's still
Stella
kicking.
Emmanuel. Yeah, she's still going, I think.
What do you mean? Dude?
Oh, Amber, you
Dr.
don't know
Stella
about Stella Emmanuel? Send
Yep.
a fire.
Demon sperm
We
lady?
need to.
Yep.
Yeah,
We need
That's
to.
my
you
Donald
heard my gift sub alert, right?
Yeah, I think that's either your raid or gift sub alert. But yeah, this was a person cited by Donald Trump during the like early parts of COVID, who said like, you know, COVID is part of like demon sperm getting into you or something like that.
Well, so as far as COVID is concerned, she was just
Holy
a straight
Ghost,
up
send the
like
fire.
generic hydroxychloroquine is poggers type person. Like that's why Trump propped her up, because Trump was also promoting that and his stupid ass fucking FDA had approved it with no data. But like prior to that, that's where all the demon sperm shit came from, because I think she grew up in Cameroon, so it was a lot of like fringe religious shit about like, you know, women getting sick because they had demon sperm put inside of them by men, and other like insane conspiracy theories. Let's see. Infertility, miscarriages, STDs are caused by spirit spouses, which is apparently like a shamanic conspiracy. They're
Someone's playing
spirits
NSYNC
that
right
are
now.
apparently like married to you in spirit and are supposed to
I'm
like,
not
help
there.
you along in life.
Fuck. God damn
But
it. I need to stop
again,
closing out.
Many other conspiracies come from her
Wait.
because she was just wilding out.
Marcus, do you ever get the taint whisperer in your chat?
I have not heard that username, but it's actually kind of a funny username.
I know,
It sounds like
it's so funny.
they spend some
They're
time.
anti-vax.
Hey, I mean, after the panel, you can send them to my chat. I'll talk to them while I file an FDA report about the fucking Lucky Charms.
Yeah, there you go. Here, I'll link your shit.
I'm getting flashbacks to the eat the poo poo guy.
Yeah,
Remember him?
Poo-poo guy.
Black ice cream.
Yeah, no, it's actually a good reference, Amber. Like, it's in the same vein.
Like-
You eat it to poo-poo. It make you gay.
I'm telling you.
I have no
Stop.
idea what the fuck you're talking
It's a
about.
sick
Oh,
man.
there's like a viral video of an African minister saying that gay people eat the poo poo.
Yeah, like ice cream.
They stick their hand in and pull out the poo poo, and then they eat the poo
They eat it
poo.
like this.
Yeah, he just a fucking. This is pseudo fucking rim job.
We do not want this sickness in Uganda.
This like super religious dude just
Yeah,
just
poor guy.
sucks his fucking fist on stage.
And there's just like the dude behind him, like the minister is like, yes, like ice cream.
All I'm gonna say is, if you're into that, there's clubs in Germany. Trust me.
All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, so to circle back to Greg's presentation, tell me more about this guy.
That's pretty much it, man.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm turning off the demon sperm lady.
If you marry somebody and he's a witch, what are you gonna do?
Wise choice.
You think
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say more than that. I feel like I don't. His videos are too long. He basically sits in front of a whiteboard for 3 hours and draws. It's like the Charlie Always Sunny like thing where he just like draws everything together, and you're just like,
Yeah, great. Because I was looking at his Rumble archive, and I not only noticed what you just said in terms of his long, rambling soliloquies, but also he's starting some infighting in the conspiracy theory space, because he apparently, with his most recent content, is going after all of the QAnoners who claim that Satan's DNA is in the vaccine. So he, like, his last couple of videos are saying, like, they're actually wrong, and here's why.
Oh my god!
So-
I didn't
This
catch
is
that,
great.
dude. Is that what I see? The problem is I don't know. I don't want to.
Listen, I'll let the vaccine changing your DNA and turning you into human chimeras, but I draw the line at Satan.
Yeah, for real. That whole. Oh yeah, more evidence that Dr. Ardis is wrong about the snake venom. Dr. Paul Cottrell. It really makes me mad. Like, dude, don't
This
call
is my
yourself
third bag.
Don't-
Oh shit! Sorry.
don't don't call
Talking
yourself
about
a
my crayfish.
doctor when you're an economics PhD, and don't call yourself a doctor hanging out in scrubs, man. Like, come on.
I think if you got a PhD in economics, you can call yourself a doctor if you're in the right setting.
Yeah.
But most people don't. Like, I actually only started doing that because I teach these large classes. And even then, like, if they email me one-on-one, I sign it by my first name.
Yeah.
Usually I only use the fact that I have a PhD in two places, when I'm booking hotel rooms and when I'm booking flights.
I mean, that's fine, man. And what he does with it is fine. That's not the point, right? If the point is that he's trying to say he's a physician, and he's trying to show that he's trying to say that he's a physician and he's not an MD. So maybe he says he's in medical school.
That's fucked up, man.
I don't know. I don't know where. I don't know where his.
He get in trouble, like with the FDA or somebody.
He's not on a board yet. He's not even. He's not past the point where he's actually taken the Hippocratic Oath or anything. He's he's a little far from that.
I mean, I just feel like if somebody takes his advice, he's really like playing with fire, right?
I can't imagine any medical school seeing this and being like, oh, this is someone that we really want to, platform or bring on. I mean, I would. It's a couple Google searches away, and everyone Google searches everyone's name now on applications. So there's just no way that this guy. I don't know where he's going to school. I talked to the anti-vaxxer about this, and I brought this up. I was like, dude, like even on the school, like it doesn't exist. Even the school itself hasn't had a medical school in 100 years. And he's like, well, he's not going to put his real stuff on there. He's got a couch. He has to play silent. He's pretty popular. He's not going to put his real good.
There's always a way out.
You're like, damn, man, that's amazing. Like, Jesus, like don't fall on the sword for this guy. You know what I mean? Fuck, like this guy, who knows who this guy is? And it's like, why are you putting your own credibility on the line for this guy? I don't understand. Like this guy could obviously
falls within their worldview, and I mean, he's just reinforcing their biases. Exactly.
Yeah. This is the guy. This is the guy that's doing the science in their eyes. That's really, this is the dude.
Power.
Yeah, but I don't know how he's doing his research, if all academia doesn't take him seriously or doesn't take any of his research seriously, the global conspiracy, everyone's out to get you kind of thing, but except for him apparently, and his PI that he's never mentioned, or it's very weird. It's very weird. I think it's a clear case of someone taking advantage of the pandemic and allegedly, I don't know, changing his game up, putting stuff out there in a weird way where you're like that you're trying to be someone that you're not allegedly. So
yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you think he actually believes his own bullshit?
That's a good question. I think at some point you have to, like, you really do, man, because you're not. I mean, look at his videos are like 3 hours long, man, and he'll do it. April 13th, every 3 or 4 days, put out 3 or 4 hours on this stuff. And I genuinely, I think that they think so little of the scientific process that they think that these type of like rambling whiteboard sessions are legitimate discourse and legitimately are furthering kind of like this academic idea that they have. And in their mind, it's as this 3 hour thing that they put out is just as valid as a paper. And I think in their mind.
Incredible.
It's very strange. It's very, very strange. I put the Rumble in Discord. I don't want to. This is like one of the really bad ones, I feel like, and I don't want to introduce people to it that wouldn't know about it already, because you know what I mean. I feel bad. I don't know.
Yeah, certainly peruse the Rumble off stream if you want some shits and giggles. I'm sure you could probably skip to any point in the video and find something insane that he's saying.
Yeah, and like even his dude, his PC setup is god awful. Like, let's just be honest. Like, they're like 10-inch LCDs from like 20 years ago, and he has 4 of them, and they're all like 3 or 4 inches apart. So it looks like one of those, those
like
the
art
pictures.
pieces.
Yes, exactly. When people put up the art pieces on the wall, like seriously, like Professor Q, imagine those art pieces behind you if there were like monitors, like, and you were actually, it's like, dude, that dude is not actually like spending any time looking at those monitors. He doesn't even have them tilted towards himself. It's just like,
I mean, that almost sounds like it's a like Petersonian-esque "I'm not okay" type of signal, like
a cry for help.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that was maybe too formalized of a definition that I put forth.
Petersonian. I hate that that's like within the common nomenclature now.
Well, at least I was using it in a way to say that he's not okay, and neither is Paul Cottrell.
True.
I think there is some. Look, I'm not a psychologist. I don't have any training in this formal training, but I do genuinely believe that not him specifically, but these ideas, and I'm not diagnosing him, but I'm just saying it reminds me a lot of paranoid schizophrenia, where it's kind of like an ideologically induced paranoid schizophrenia, where it's like the whole world's in on it, man. Like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's even bigger than you think, and it's in a, and you're in it, and you're in it. Oh, you're saying I'm wrong. Okay, you're in it too, and you created this huge monster, right? This huge thing that's bigger than you can even imagine, and it has so much power. And every company, every government, every scientist is all in on this whole thing, and they're all coming to get me. And a big thing with paranoid schizophrenia is that they're unable to tell and really figure out what reality is. And man, it's really sad. I genuinely feel like this guy's I don't know. I just hope that they're seeing a therapist. I've seen a therapist multiple times in my life. It's really helped me. I recommend it to everyone, even when things are going good. So
yeah, that's when you need it the most sometimes, right?
Yeah. So like I'm not saying that he's like, he's gone crazy, but I'm just saying that it's helped me. In putting these things together, man, it's like, I don't know. It's scary. It's scary for me. If that was my brother, or if that was my dad or something, I would be scared. That's how I would feel. So it's sad. I feel like it's sad.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably an end point for a lot of where these people wind up, is in a place like that. Regardless of how ill they may or may not be, it's just, you can't help but like pity them after long enough.
Marcus, who do you got?
I'm trying.
Or do we want to let Grimlow go?
I can go if Marcus needs to get his stuff together first.
No, I'm good, so it doesn't really matter to me. Hey, Grimlow, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So for this evening, I have brought to you a fine tasting, if you will. I've brought to you the story of Dr. Mehmet Oz, commonly known in America as Dr. Oz, who got his start on Oprah Winfrey. Let's see, early life. So he got his residency, or did his residency in Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. Let's see. He trained in cardiothoracic surgery at Emory University in Atlanta. Let's see.
Both big schools.
What's that?
Those are both like really good schools.
Yeah, good schools too.
Yeah. So, appeared as a health expert on Oprah Winfrey Show for 5 seasons. So he would always come on of like, ladies, we got the thing that's gonna burn fat. We got the thing that's going to make your husband find you attractive again. On the show,
yeah, it's called
Oz,
ecstasy.
Yeah. On the show, Oz addressed issues like type 2 diabetes and promoted resveratrol supplements, which he claimed were anti-aging. His Transplant television series won both a Freddie and a Silver Telly Award. Wow, really scraping the bottom for television awards here. So I have an article called 8 Times. Let's see, let me pull up to the top again. 8 times he has made false or baseless medical claims on television. So the first one was when he claimed that raspberry ketones are the #1 miracle in a bottle to burn your fat.
What the fuck?
Yep.
That's such an extension of keto bullshit. That's just
I've been
his
doing it
particular
wrong this
spin on
whole
it.
time.
I know. And another one in a reach out to the Crystal Mommies has said that astrological signs may reveal a great deal about your health.
Okay, that's when he should have been canceled right there. Full stop.
He told TV viewers that green coffee extract has scientists saying they found the magic weight loss cure. Doctors hate this one neat trick.
Dude,
Except for the one doctor pushing it.
What is this weight loss thing?
Well,
It's
that's the
happening
thing.
to our desire.
Yeah, like think about who the main market for like Oprah Winfrey daytime TV is. It's people who are like usually retired, stay-at-home moms, wine moms in particular, older women who are like trying to get that that energy back in their life, whatever it is.
Damn, he did like heart transplants. I'm looking on the Wikipedia. This is like, dang, dude.
He's an actual doctor.
Yeah.
Imagine having a heart transplant from this guy and then watching our episode where Grimlow takes him down. Like, I want to get my heart looked at.
He's 6'3". I don't think I could take him.
I think a lot of these like science chuds, at least the ones who are PhD havers or MD havers, a lot of the problems arise when they talk about things that they aren't like well educated in, and they have a bad take, and then they either stick with it because they have to, or they stick with it out of sheer stubbornness.
Yeah, Jordan P. Peterson's an excellent example. Clinical psychologist, talks a lot about like socioeconomic conditions and broader political strife. No expert in history, no expert in like geopolitics, not a sociologist or an anthropologist or a historian. Oz has said most countries require genetically modified foods to have special labels. I don't know what that's about.
I think that's just saying like, God, it's an addendum to GMOs bad with the whole like consumers want their food to be labeled with GMOs. Like it's
Oh my God.
I guess an extension of the hype around people being fear-mongered into thinking GMOs are bad. But then Dr. Oz is saying, well, hey, there's a label on it. There's a reason why there's a label on it. It must be bad.
No.
Yeah, Marcus, I'm getting pop-up
GMOs are
ads
good.
for that Raiders jacket on this article on Dr. Oz here.
Oh, that's actually kind of fucking creepy. That
it's a little weird.
The trackers are doing that.
Yeah,
Go on.
I just need to clear my cookies. Let's see. He's also said, what on earth is this word? Umcalobo root. It's UMCKALOABO root extract. Has been incredibly effective at relieving cold symptoms, even though it isn't. Umcalobo. This sounds like some like new age medicine stuff,
It's a South African plant extract. It's from the South African geranium.
Yeah.
Jesus. That's like a Crystal Mommy adjacent. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oz has recommended using lavender soap to cure leg cramps.
Oh, good God.
Oh my God.
Essential
strawberry-
oils. Hi.
A strawberry and baking soda mixture can whiten teeth, Oz said. That's a little backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's everything, and that's the 8 times that he's said some weird shit. He's peddled fat burners and pseudosciences, but now he's running for Senate in Pennsylvania.
You're joking.
No,
know that?
You didn't hear about this? Trump just endorsed him.
right here.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
man.
Trump.
Trump
Yeah.
endorsed him. Yep.
We're gonna have Dr. Oz, the senator.
Oh.
Fuck yeah, let's go, dude.
Look,
I hate it.
if you don't want Dr. Oz to win, you got to hype up John Fetterman.
Big John Fetterman. That's right.
Right. Real working man. Okay, so I have for us why I'm running from Dr. Oz. I need like the dun 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 dun, dun like violin music. Today, America's heartbeat is in a code red and in needing of a defibrillator to shock it back to life.
God.
Many of us feel like we're in the adjacent operating room, armed with insights and already scrubbed up, but reluctant to leave our quiet, serene setting for the chaos next door.
Who's
But
this
for
relatable
me,
to?
I think he's just like, I'm a doctor, by the way. But for me, stepping into the political arena is the right thing to do. In our time of need, we want to be surrounded by people of action more than armchair intellectuals, because a great surgeon never censors ideas and never shuts off the light that shines on our wounds, which is what happened while our nation battled the pandemic. So, Dr. Mehmet Oz, like we said, is endorsed by Trump. And on his Wikipedia, we have his political positions.
No.
On abortion, we'll just start with the hot one. In 2022, Oz announced that he is pro-life, despite their never mentioning this before, with exceptions for when the patient's life is in danger or in cases of rape or incest. However, he supported abortion rights in 2019. Weird how that happened. Saying he saw the effects of unsafe and illegal abortions prior to the Roe v. Wade decision legalizing abortion nationwide. That same year, he also said that he was opposed to fetal heartbeat bills. On climate change, in 2017, Oz co-authored an article that highlighted the threats of climate change, including extreme heat, wildfires, and floods. When running for Senate, though, he downplayed the risk that carbon dioxide poses when contributing to the role of the greenhouse effect in contributing to climate change. He said, carbon dioxide, my friends, is 0.04% of our air. That's not the problem.
Like, don't worry, your cancer cells are only 0.01% of your total cell count. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. On COVID-19. During the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, Oz initially downplayed the severity of the disease and suggested hydroxychloroquine could be used to treat the virus. Yeah, he's one of those. However, Oz has also promoted the efficacy of wearing masks and getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Okay, so there's like a silver lining there. Regarding COVID-19 restrictions, Oz said in 2022 when running for Senate, it's time we get back to normal.
Nah.
So basically, if I hear you correctly, whoever throws money at him can sway his opinion.
100%. He's a grifter.
They took an opinion poll of his audience and found out they didn't like his stance on abortion, so he just flipped it.
Yeah, weird how
so
like
many issues on climate change, gun rights, fracking,
Israel, LGBTQ rights, marijuana, everything.
I mean, he was on TV so much. Like,
wait, he's against marijuana?
Let me read it. While running for Senate in 2022, Oz announced that he opposed the legalization of recreational cannabis. In 2014, he said on Larry King Live, quote, marijuana is hugely beneficial when used correctly for medical purposes. And in 2017, criticized the federal government for classifying marijuana as a Schedule I drug, which prevents more scientific research on marijuana. So a grifter, again.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Who's running against him again? I want to donate money to him right now.
John Fetterman, who is actually a really cool guy. Like, he walks around in khaki cargo shorts and like 0-degree weather, and he's like 8 feet tall. He's like a coal miner's son, or was a coal miner, or something like that.
He's about to get
a badass. He's really cool.
It's gonna be either him or Malcolm Kenyatta, because they had the primary debate actually for the Democratic candidate to run against him is tonight. I'm just seeing it like trending on Twitter now. I don't know how it went, but it was basically those two who were both socialists debating against the Democratic establishment-backed Connor Lamb, who's a giant neoliberal and piece of shit. So, hopefully that debate went well for Fetterman. But he outperformed all of them, I think, in polling against Dr. Oz. So
yeah, Fetterman is loved by his community. Let's see. On education, Oz is supportive of school choice and charter schools. I mean, it's just the Trump platform. It quite literally is. But yeah, this dude has a long career in television, and his most recent foray into politics is just indicative of his very gross grifter mentality.
Like I can understand changing your view on something, you know? Like I can understand like, okay, you know, like I was wrong on blank blank and this is why. What I don't understand and what's so obvious is that when all your views change to go lockstep in with the GOP, like all the talking points that they have, that's just so obvious.
He got paid.
Exactly.
He got paid.
I mean, he did something something happened in order for him to. He realized that he has the best chance to get Trump's endorsement, and then he just fell in line. I feel like that's just what. I don't know.
I feel so sorry for you, Greg. I've been slowly watching the life drain out of you. You're like,
it's just frustrating, man. But it's fine. I can understand it.
I agree. These guys, we need George Soros. Come on, Donald Soros, come give us money.
Well, but it's also worth remembering, Greg. Like Dr. Oz was like Ben Carson vanilla. Like he, I think, set the standard for MD grifter in terms of just how far you can take it, and he's still on it. Which by running for Senate, which I guess isn't entirely surprising, but we really didn't expect him to be revived in the name of chuds that are sort of popping around right now. Like we didn't really expect him to have this, I guess, like second wind for his grifting career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, originally we have Oprah to fucking thank for this, since she platformed him and gave him, some degree of legitimacy for daytime talk TV. But now here we are, where he's managed to leverage that successfully into a Senate run, which is kind of horrifying. Like, I don't know if we can officially call that a pipeline. Like, is that a thing? Like,
it's weird.
Oprah to politics pipeline.
A lot of his original positions, like pro cannabis, recreation, all these things. I mean, he could have run as a Democrat. I mean, for real. I don't know what his financial positions are, but like honestly, for a lot of these social positions, like he could have run as a Democrat, and it's just like weird. For all of a sudden, he changes his views. I don't know.
Well, I guess Fox's bidding price was higher.
I guess so. I don't know, man. It's just weird. I don't get.
I don't
get it.
I really kind of wonder sometimes if there isn't like some guy with black sunglasses and a briefcase that just goes up to these people and is like, "Hey, I got an offer."
No, I mean, I think they call that person a lobbyist.
Right. It's Grimlow. I knew it all along.
Oh wait.
Yeah, like, do you get recruited? Like, yeah, exactly. Do you get like recruited? Like, what happens there? Like, does someone is like, I don't know, man.
I feel like all the reality TV stars and stuff just have
I've been
to
muted
be.
this whole time.
They have to be like.
Yes, you have been.
It was the libtards they muted you, brother.
God damn it. What were you saying, Amber? I'm sorry.
I know you're good. I feel like the reality TV stars and the grifters kind of have to be conservative at this point.
Well, what I was saying while I was muted was this can only happen if you're a Republican. The Republican Party is the only party to elect in higher positions celebrities. Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, Mehmet Oz. Like that's where it comes from, because part of the Republican mythos is that strongman mentality, very performative, and the kind of bag that you get from being a Republican who turns tail or turns coat and is now anti-vax, anti-mandate, anti-science, whatever it is, anti-marijuana, anti-LGBTQ, all the antis. The think tanks that fund the type of talking points that he uses now, Heritage Foundation, Moral Majority, American Legislative Exchange Council, it's all right there. I mean...
Yeah, like the only real, I guess, Democratic Party example that someone in my chat just brought up is Al Franken.
Yep. Because what was he? Small-time TV celebrity?
Yeah, I know he was a comedian. Was he ever on like SNL or anything?
Yeah, he was on SNL for a long time.
Yeah. Because it would be like I don't even know who would run as a person in the
Oprah.
Democratic Party? Oh God.
That's a good question.
Dear. Oh dear.
I mean, that's
It's like what? Pete Davidson?
It's
We're gonna
weird
get
because-
heroin chic in the
Oh,
office.
Oh my
You see,
I'm here for it.
Kanye West jumping over the White House fence trying to get to him.
I mean, that's
So-
like the big thing, though, right?
They have
That
to up the security at the White House.
They got like printouts of Kanye's face all over the
Kanye
fencing
goes to
saying,
prison for
"Do not
threatening the
allow."
president.
Yeah.
Like,
Mr. Zelensky, I'm gonna let you finish.
oh my god.
"Oh no."
It's actually kind of disturbing. We can't think of anyone who we could put up as like a person that would actually be good.
well, there have been people. I mean, it is weird how
DeVito.
the Democrats have won like the culture war. I would argue that like there is a
Not Danny DeVito.
but there is a lack of like people wanting to get involved at that like celebrity level. I would say. But a good point, right? Where people are like, well, I'm a fucking celebrity and I do movies. Why would I want to be like an executive or,
Oh,
like,
do you
why
guys
would-
know about Matthew McConaughey though?
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey, The Rock
Oh,
is going to
all
run.
right, all right.
The
Extras.
Rock's going to run. People have tried to recruit George Clooney for a while.
Ugh.
Oprah.
Robert De Niro was floated for a minute.
Yeah, Oprah. Like,
But
Oprah,
no one ever does. Like none
Exactly.
of the
Yeah, they
celebrities
get a
that
couple
could run-
articles. They get an interview.
Yeah,
Why would
exactly.
you-
That's
like,
all they want.
I don't understand why anyone would take a job that they've never even done before at that level. I don't understand. It's like, how do you even know that you're going to like it? So, you know what I
Proximity
mean?
to power. You get to like write legislation that's favorable for you and like certain industries that you work in, like need taxes and shit like that. Like you said, like who in the Democratic Party would do that? The only like activist actors I can like come to mind is like Danny DeVito, Mark Ruffalo, and I don't know, Jane Goodall.
What
Well, I
about
can
Hassan
see-
Piker?
Oh, there you go.
Oh. I think he said multiple
Unelectable. I'm
times he's not
sorry.
going to run.
Yeah, he's entirely unelectable. He's not winning anything.
The second you have a career in Twitch, your any like future prospects of like political aspirations is done.
Could you imagine the clips that they could? Oh my god, I just thought
Just
about that.
America
yeah, probably
deserved
not
9/11.
good.
Like that's enough.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right, scratch that name off.
Yeah. Maybe
I could
Kid
see-
Knockin. Maybe Kid Knockin could run.
No, I could see Libs putting up either did I just lose the name? No, Lin-Manuel Miranda. That
Oh,
one.
God.
I
Or
would
John
love
Legend.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. Hey,
Lib,
hey,
lib,
hey,
lib,
hey, shut
lib.
the fuck up. Don't lib me. Don't lib shame me. All right, listen. Sorry, I have a soft spot for him. Okay, God.
I mean, the biggest problem that the Democrats have, in my opinion, is like the lack of bench. Like, nobody really wants to run, and it's seen as like kind of a point of pride when they say like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to have that job," that kind of stuff. Like Jon Stewart says that all the time.
Yeah,
and all
that's
that kind of
true.
stuff. It's like that, like what the fuck, man? Like if you really care that much about politics, get involved. Like at some level, fuck, man. Even if it's City Hall, like volunteer your time. It's worth it. It's honestly like since I've been volunteering, it's been really fun to see something like get going. We did like this youth innovation center where it's like kids can go and interact with making like video producing and engineering and mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. We could a garden that they could grow. There's just a lot of like cool things that are happening at the city level, and it's just such a weird thing where it's like it's too helping everyone's too good for me. It's like I don't know.
I think well, there's a couple parts of it. Like if you're running as a Democrat, if you're in the celebrity business, is like if you're an actor, a performer, whatever it is, you're about to have everything pulled out in front of you, and you're going to be slandered as like a baby murdering communist for the rest of your life if you don't.
He'll come back.
If you don't win, then your career's kind of over. You're now a C-list straight to DVD celebrity. And on the more cynical side, the wealthy have a lot of class consciousness, and they vote and push legislation that is along their interests. And the kind of legislation that we need is not necessarily within theirs.
Dude, that's a great point, man. I really feel like that's a really well. I think that celebrities are like a different class, and as soon as you go into politicians, that's kind of like, oh, it's for you normal people, you know? Like, you guys fix it for me. Like, what are you talking about? That kind of mentality.
I mean, like Schwarzenegger was a Republican, right? And he governed like a Republican and also like a celebrity. So now people remember him as the governor, right? He's got like his, action movies from the 80s that everybody loves. But for the most part, he's still looked at as like, it's Arnold. But if it was, let's say Danny DeVito runs for governor of California, right? I'm pretty sure that's where he lives. Well, Danny DeVito's a socialist. He's openly said recently, like, America's a foundationally racist, white supremacist country founded on genocide. And he's a big Bernie bro.
Yeah.
That kind of shit, the kind
Danny
of policies.
DeVito?
Oh yeah, Danny DeVito's
I didn't realize he was a Chad.
That's why he's on my background right here.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I suddenly have much more respect for him.
Dude, weird story. I actually saw Danny DeVito at a Sufjan Stevens concert. It was really
Are you
cool.
sure it was Danny DeVito?
Are you fucking kidding me? He's like 4 feet tall, dude. You can fucking tell. Like, it's fucking out of your
No one
mind.
looks like Danny DeVito.
Are
Not
you
a single fucking
There's
human on
nobody
Earth.
else in the fucking world that looks like that. No way.
True. But yeah, like
You can
Danny
tell.
DeVito's
You can
the
tell.
kind of policies he wants, he would be slandered as like a straight up communist. It's just like farther to the left than Bernie.
We almost need someone to fucking like come out like that, where it's like this is okay, and this is something that I like about Hassan, is that he's really like normalized being unabashedly left and that kind of thing, where it's like that's really cool, because back in my day, early 2000s, like there wasn't any space. There wasn't any space where you could discuss these ideas openly, that you weren't shot down and been like, what are you talking about? This is so dumb. So it's actually really, I think it's really nice that people can go there, can see someone's viewpoint that's not like afraid of saying it. And that's a huge plus, I think. And hopefully something comes out of that, and people getting more involved.
Yeah, if socialist was a dirty word in like 2014, 2015, then part of Hassan's legacy, I think, is scraping the barnacles off of it, and now it's just a grimy word,
Yeah.
So we got some scrubbing to do there.
Agreed.
Yeah, Kid Knock is going to be in my chat being like, oh, here comes the Gremlo Hassan simp hour.
Well,
think
based
a
on
lot
the
of
content
it's
of my last stream, I'll do some Hassan bashing too. So we can team up if you fall down that rabbit hole, Gremlo. Amber, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of it is like Gen Zers and social media too, like spreading the good word.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotta
Social
vote,
media
though.
proliferation has accelerated the kind of class consciousness, leftist, whatever kind of term you want to put on it, movement, and it's awesome. It's just
Especially
a little bit
TikTok.
more.
TikTok is surprisingly leftist.
Yeah, it's weird.
Right, like algorithm.
There's no like socialist hype house, but there is definitely a conservative hype house.
I mean, that's like, do you think it's algorithm driven on that a little bit? Like you're spending more time on the left content than the right?
I don't know.
I mean, yes, but because of that, like there's more radicalization to both sides. So, I mean, it's a give and take, but
Huge
there are
problem.
a lot of centrists who, get
Radical
Liberal.
centrism.
liberals who, get pulled over to the left side of the fence. So,
Yeah, people who like Lin-Manuel Miranda, they're all over the place.
suck my dick.
I'm just
Suck
messing with
these
you.
nuts.
Just messing with you. So before we move on to Marcus's thing, because Oz is just like a funny character. He's very easy to read.
So frustrating.
I had a conversation last night with another streamer who's out in the UK, trans streamer, who said, in regards to the like recent anti-LGBTQ bills, what is it that is preventing so much direct action? from taking place surrounding this, because we see like school walkouts, we see like radical compliance within like teachers. What's the thing you guys maybe like, you know, think is holding that back? Because 2020 BLM, massive mobilization.
Yeah.
Like, do we need to see like a queer kid get like murdered for this to happen? Like, what's going on?
Hope not.
Yeah, I mean that's the unfortunate reality. Like I say all the time, you know, the only way Americans really learn or like actively do something is through suffering and pain. So I really don't think there's any other sort of impetus that would fall short of that would be enough to galvanize people into action. You know, I think that again speaks to how it would be a good idea to like, you know, prevent these things from happening so that way people don't have to get hurt for there to be change. But, you know, when you look at things, there's always been some sort of event just throughout history that acts as sort of the fire starter to galvanize a very large movement. I mean, everybody gets taught the example of Rosa Parks in the bus and, you know, all of that jazz as it pertains to the civil rights movement. And then, you know, that blew up into things like the March on Washington and whatnot. So there's always some sort of, you know, borderline violent or overtly violent event that kickstarts stuff. I mean, Stonewall was a riot. That's probably the most like immediately relevant historical event that I can conjure up in my brain, you know, in relation to this topic. And it took gay people fighting the police for that to happen. So
I think COVID did a lot of good for like people realizing the healthcare system's fucked right now too, and getting radicalized left because of that, and like lack of access to healthcare too. But
yeah, well, I mean, hopefully, you know, eventually we see some mass mobilization around that, because it's been, you know, tacitly unsafe to some degree to like congregate and protest, especially around an issue like that. But at the very least, like in terms of the direct action, you're starting to see at least a little uptick with respect to healthcare workers and their unionization drives. They're starting to realize that they've been hung out to dry and they've had enough. So you see now nurses, medical residents, and the like unionizing in their sectors, in their hospitals, in their healthcare facilities in general. Because COVID, like you said, has been the force that ultimately delivered that suffering upon them. So at least they were the ones that suffered, and thankfully they're the ones who are deciding they've had enough.
I just said something in Gremlo's chat, and I figured I should probably say it, but like, you talking about like queer people getting murdered and that being like a galvanizing force, but the problem is they are getting murdered. Like especially trans women of color are getting murdered like at disproportionately higher rates than other groups.
True.
So.
Yeah.
I think it's more like we need that media frenzy behind it, not just it happening, because it is happening. It's just not getting publicized the way that it should be.
There was a summer when I was out in DC, and I noticed the gay rag or gay newspaper, the Washington Blade, was starting to do some of that work. So they were starting to run the names of all the trans people who had been murdered over the year. But then I saw it really like go away, die out. So yeah, I would agree with what you said, Amber. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean you kind of bring up
a thing for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you kind of bring up like the natural sequelae of that line of thought, Professor Q. Like if we're to try and amplify signal that this is happening, try and put as many bigots on blast for, you know, being murderers and killing LGBTQ people of color, especially disproportionately. If we've already done that to some extent, then what's the threshold? Like, how much of it does it take to spur that mass action? Because I don't know. Like, I don't have necessarily an answer. I'm just curious. Like, what does it take?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I've said this a lot, but it took for millions of people to get out in the streets for months, someone to be murdered, state sanctioned, on camera, broad daylight, in front of a bunch of people, and it go viral. There are a lot of qualifiers for Americans to like mobilize, because we're tired, we're overworked, we're busy, we're sick. I mean, there's so much. I mean, if we have a crazy incarceration state, the risk of injury or death from participating in direct action is very high in America. So I don't know what it takes for people to realize like how big of an issue it is, but it's very close to. I don't want to like be hyperbolic or doom-pilled here, but it's very close to people just being like put in jail for being queer.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the trajectory that we're on. I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say that. At least in the states like Texas and Florida and, you know, red states, I think this is in line with something I've been saying about the U.S. and kind of the continued radicalization of elected Republican officials to the right into overt fascism. Like, you're going to see red states really balkanize themselves and be these fascist havens where anybody they don't like is going to be tangibly harmed in some way, whether it's jailed, prevented from having an abortion, detransitioned because they're being denied access to everything they need for gender affirming hormone therapy and surgery. Like, you're going to see all of the above, but it's going to be red state governors that are going to be at the helm of these efforts, trying to coordinate and make it happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if at this point we need to engage in like a fucking rescue operation to like haul marginalized people out of these states and into different ones to like keep them alive and out of jail. But maybe if push comes to shove, we need an underground trans railroad. I mean, what do we have to do?
Yeah. I mean, I joke a lot about like the Florida annexation plan, but that's like in my mind a worst case scenario. Like, is there like a armistice that happens with this state where we say, okay, there's clearly, because of our federalized system, not a whole lot we can do for state legislature. You know, you're violating human rights, and short of invading Florida and like deposing the governor and all of his sycophants, basically saying like, okay, well, we got to extract people out of here, and this is like a no-fly zone, basically.
On your way to Florida, can you stop by Missouri? You know, it's kind of on the way.
Yeah, just.
I mean, Utah is, I think, one of the only red states that like doesn't have an overt problem with trans people at the moment, which is kind of weird because that's not what you'd expect. But our current governor is okay. Yeah, I'm sure once we get a new GOP governor, things are going to change. But right now, like, it's okay, which is surprising. I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
I remember correctly, Utah has a pretty strong gay community, especially up in Salt Lake. So hopefully if that happens, there'll be some pushback.
They do, but it's mostly because they've had to, because they get disowned by their parents. Like, they have to have a strong community because it's the only community they have in Utah. Like, a lot of our homeless youth, or a lot of our homeless population are youth, especially LGBT. So yeah.
Someone in chat raises a good point. People aren't moved to action by text only report of a murder. So like a list of like, today, you know, in America, X queer people were murdered. They show them something grisly that they can't put away in their mind, and you have their attention. 9/11 is remembered because the tragedy was visible. More people have died of COVID, but nobody's showing the mass graves, so people remain unfazed. That was something in the beginning of COVID when there were refrigerator trucks in New York. Like, that was a visceral reality that was unignorable. And sadly, I think that kind of shit needs to be shown.
No, I'd agree. I mean, that's why in a Discord movie night of mine, we watched a documentary called The First Wave. It was following one hospital in New York during the very first 3 months of COVID. You know, and in that documentary, you, from a healthcare worker's perspective, you watch 4 people die. Like, you see their corpses under a bag, you hear the death rattles. Like, it's not being hidden away from you. You get a very close-up look into the reality of what the pandemic was doing, especially right at the beginning when it was a truly unknown entity. So as it pertains to the insane legislation being put forth and the subsequent violence that might come as a consequence directed at LGBTQ plus people, I guess kind of goes back to the discussion we had before about archival. Like, do we need to have like a fucking snuff film website to like host the atrocities that Republican fascists are committing? Like, how do we go about showing that?
That's actually interesting that you put it that way, because the other day on stream we watched this video. I think it was Red Letter Media was the channel that someone sent me. They reviewed a VHS that was used for police training in the late 80s, early 90s, called Surviving Edged Weapons. Hilarious to watch. But what it was is basically reenactments of the ridiculous things that cops make up. Like in Milwaukee is where it was set. So you have like a bunch of actors with like thick Milwaukee accents, bad actors too. But it went from like action movie Lethal Weapon to like slasher film stuff, where it was just cops being like stabbed by everything. Like one was shot with a crossbow, one was hit with a ninja star, one had like a Peaky Blinder hat that had a bunch of razor blades attached to it, like slapped him in the face with it. Craziness. But these like reenactments were interspersed with the actual pictures of a Satanist. They walked into a satanic ritual and somebody tried to stab him with a ritualistic dagger, and they just blasted this Satanist lady. Pretty crazy. They had
watch too much Criminal Minds. Like
yeah, they had like a Iron Maiden poster on the wall. I remember that specifically.
Of course.
Yeah, so these trainings, and then we looked at Killology after that. These trainings are meant to reinforce the fear that these cops walk on the streets with, or drive on the streets with, rather. And that kind of reinforcement, I think, can be weaponized for these types of causes. Like, this is the reality on the ground. This is the kind of shit that people are going through. So maybe there's like a kind of drunk driving PSA that we do in high schools that we can do for like marginalized people as well, and the kind of various issues that we experience in America.
Is this the
CRT
Periscope film?
No, Rain. Can you link that to me, and I'll send it to everybody.
I want to use it in my criminology class. That's why.
Oh yeah. You'll love it. And
I want to radicalize some kids next semester.
It's not just like showing the entire thing, but it's like guys talking about the video, and it's like interspersed with them watching it and how crazy it is. But yeah,
I was gonna. Sorry, Professor Q. I was gonna ask. Since you're talking about your class, that student that you posted about in the ministry, did you tell them to watch the panel, or was that like extra credit, or was that just they happened upon it?
I was kind of experimenting. I always look for like extra credit things because I think part of my role is to get people to use their brain outside of the classroom, right? And so, yeah, for extra credit, they could watch this channel. There's another sociology professor who streams, Professor EXP. They could watch the Sunday thing we do, which those people got hella points because that's the big brain shit. And Marcus's stream on Tuesday, and I put a link to Grimlow's channel in there as well.
Oh no.
So
don't send your students over to me. Come on.
Well, I mean, considering some of the feedback that we got, it might be a necessity.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're doing it, and like, it's kind of interesting to watch them like go, oh wow, yeah, this learning shit happens like all around us, right? Not just in the classroom, not just like, and so I'll keep doing it as long as I'm still teaching.
Did they give any feedback for my stream?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I had actually less students do it this time than in previous times.
Did you see the message that he posted in the Discord?
No.
They mention you by name. Twice.
Oh shit. Okay, I need to find it. Where was it? Was it in ministry only? Where was
I think it's in ministry only. Yeah. I'm still like, I mean, I guess props to this guy, but like, I'm still just laughing at the girl comment because he was like, "Oh wow, like." There's a girl on the panel, as if he had like never seen girls before.
Grill.
But it
women-
wasn't bad. He was just like, wow,
No,
this
it's
is like
just
really
funny.
refreshing. I'm like,
Okay, from
Yeah,
a
man.
student, I watched Ministry of Science stream on Twitch 4 days ago. There were 4 guests: Homozygo, Danabos, Kremlo.
Oh shit! I thought I edited that. Yeah,
No, you're
I,
good,
I
you're
wasn't
good,
gonna
you're good.
say anything.
They discussed many different topics, and the ones I thought were the most interesting were the conversations about psychologist Jordan Peterson and cultural stereotypes around sex. Speakers discussed the dichotomy between how society puts sexual meaning to things like being naked, makeup, lingerie, and what these things actually mean. They suggested that these things, like being naked, don't necessarily equal sexual things. The culture labels them as such. Okay, so good takeaway. They discussed a lot about Jordan Peterson. Actually, they seem to see his ideas and debates as a negative for society as a whole. He seems to be more open to questioning if girls wear makeup to present sexuality. I personally didn't share their beliefs, but that is what I found interesting. Okay, interesting.
Baby steps.
going.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
You're not at the good
One of the
part yet.
speakers, Gremlo, mentioned a romance book that he read in the past that made him cry. I thought that it was cool that a guy admit that something gave him an emotional reaction in front of others. You don't see that often in certain, so they called me a beta. Okay.
No, they were saying it's a good influence for
Yeah.
other masculine people.
Yeah,
Oh God.
it's true.
No, keep going.
keep going.
Oh, okay.
Keep
okay.
going.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
I thought it was cool that a guy seen a guy admit something like that into a reaction in front of others. You don't see that very often in circles. I thought it was cool to see a girl streamer in the stream. From my personal experience, I don't see as many girl streamers talking about sociology as I do guys. That's probably just my worldview. Overall, I think it was actually a challenging and rewarding experience. Thank you all for that opportunity. Oh, that's nice.
Girl
It was just
streamer
funny.
here.
Like my worldview is no girl in sociology, but now girl talking about sociology. Like, cool progress. Nice.
Hey, good job, TNA Amber. You're making sociology sexy for us.
Oh no.
Also, speaking of girl, Maddie just apparently fell off the face of the planet tonight. Work
Oh.
probably got her.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Maddie, more like Mad don't.
Oh shit. Woo! She's out here working hard, I'm sure, campaigning for somebody.
Holy shit! Somebody just sent me a message. I'll post it in the ministry chat. Said when one wholesome stream isn't enough. Got all 3.
Yo, damn, that's a
Wow.
triumvirate right there.
I know. A grill. Kremlo is
Oh,
funny.
that's funny. That's
Call
cool.
myself a grill all the time.
Yeah.
It's great.
All
Gamer
right.
Grill.
Marcus, we have delayed the best for last for long enough.
Ooh, and I think this one's actually going to be a really good one.
Okay.
Because this one is somebody who has recently converted and is now making their first steps into chuddom. Let me put the Twitter thread I'm going to read in the ministry
Live
chat.
one, boys.
Cracking their IDW egg, are we?
I'm not sure it's IDW. This is a COVID specific person, but for now, anyways, I've just put the Twitter thread in all the chats for anybody who's interested. Anybody who has been on COVID Twitter, you know the name Liana Wen.
Oh no.
She has certainly made waves recently. Just broadly speaking, she has basically decided that all COVID precautions are now bad, and she hates them, despite a very long history of thinking that they're good and saying that people should wear masks and get vaccines and whatnot. So I'm gonna read the Twitter thread, and then we can talk about it afterwards. So currently what spurred all of this was that there was a parody account of her made on Twitter just making fun of her newly found anti-mask let's all get COVID takes, and then she got so upset about it that she reported it to Twitter and it got banned. So now she has gone on a rampage and blocked all of Med Twitter. And this is a person with an MD, by the way, who I think interesting you mentioned this earlier, Gremlo. She's been a CNN and MSNBC correspondent more often than not. So interesting how that works. So she's blocked a bunch of really respected people and then sucked up to the anti-vax let's get back to normal crowd. CNN and Washington Post, excuse me. So apparently she used to have, I'm going to start where this Twitter user is saying she makes a lot of money for a public figure. It's fair to block Twitter trolls, but she's now claiming she faces misogyny and racism because she is telling people to intentionally get COVID. She has blocked a bunch of prominent MDs, which kind of says that's really not the case. She apparently has a past in terms of being very fragile. She used to work at Planned Parenthood, and then I think somewhere else in Boston. But apparently there was a handbook that she used to tell employees how to deal with her, to write down everything she needs, and to make sure to randomly look at her in case she decides to talk about something.
Oh my God.
She worked at Planned Parenthood, and employees there were told to always answer her overnight emails first. She was a very poor manager at Planned Parenthood and was ousted after only 8 months at a Boston location. She threw a tantrum on Twitter, basically, and then decided to block everybody on Med Twitter. She is a public figure. She's not improving the discourse. She shut down any dissent and cloaked her actions in words to give her victimhood. Blocked a couple more people, and then basically, all the replies are all about some of her awful takes.
So this is what Stephen was talking about then, Pinker, about women being biologically, predisposed to being bitches, I guess. Handbook on how to handle me. Here you go.
I don't think he should be saying that at all, because have you seen his hair? Like, really? Like,
true.
I'm sorry.
So wait, this was like a manual of like how to deal with her? Because at first I thought it was like that card in the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movies, like, I have a condition, please return the card. Like,
I want to see this manual too. This is fucked up.
Yeah, here I'm going through the BuzzFeed News article about it. Let me take a look. Let me see. Oh, there's a handbook. Let me see.
We should print that off and like sell it on Amazon.
Oh, here we go. Leona Wen arrived at Planned Parenthood as a healthcare administrator not steeped in the world of Democratic campaigns. Some staffers were taken aback to receive a 182-page handbook on rules and tips for staffing her. The Special Assistant Guide from the Baltimore City Health Department, according to a copy obtained by BuzzFeed, details guidelines on timeliness, nothing can fall through the cracks, office demeanor. Make sure to frequently look up from Twitter and make eye contact with Dr. Wen to see if she's trying to communicate urgent information. Language use, Dr. Wen learns, not hears. And correspondence, try not to look at emails more than once. Take care of it then.
Be sure to maintain constant movement. Dr. Wen can only see things that are in motion.
Yeah, no strong smells. Dr. Wen will attack if she senses anything that is too fragrant. Yeah, dude. Like, she's making herself out to be some sort of like caged animal who needs like delicate treatment, which is just wild. It's just wild.
Would you say she's like a dragon of chaos?
Dragon of chaos. Oh yeah, at Planned Parenthood, where all the liberals are doing abortions.
I want to laugh at this so bad, but I know that there are chuds out there who are just like typical female.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It makes it sour for me, and it's sad.
I just think this is just crazy. I mean, fuck.
It's crazy, but it's not appropriate behavior at all. I'm not saying that like it's not hilariously terrible, but it's just like, I want to laugh, but at the same time.
So some of her more recent COVID takes are literally as of 14 hours ago. Washington Post opinion. People are drinking too much during COVID lockdown, therefore we should end all restrictions. Like, that's straight up her argument now. Like, alcoholism during COVID as a consequence of staying at home is rising, so we should do something. You
were going to say people are overhydrated. You meant like drinking alcohol. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, alcohol, not like water.
Creative, at least. Most people were talking about like depression and suicide. So.
Yeah, true. Actually, it's a very original chud argument for sure. What else? Because her Twitter feed from like the last day is just insanity. I know another Twitter thread about drinking. Basically, she was having a lot of discourse about the whole no masks on plane stuff, basically saying like, yeah, they probably shouldn't do that, but at the same time, let's get back to normal, so fuck it, why not? So she's like occupying both sides of that argument. She's unironically advocated for super spreader parties before, where people should just get each other sick to develop immunity. So she's just reciting conservative arguments.
You weren't memeing the other night. You were really serious. She really is like advocating this. Oh my God.
This is the thing. She didn't used to do this. This only started in the last like month or two, and it's reached a pretty big peak in probably the last like 2 to 3 days. So that's kind of like what's curious is like what happened.
I feel like as a doctor, you wouldn't like flip your. I don't know.
Think so, right? But like, did she get a payday? What changed her ideological position on all of this? Because she was advocating for all the right shit. Oh, sorry.
So
go ahead.
Interesting.
I was saying, I'm willing to bet you got the bag.
I guess the question is from who? Because she was always a CNN correspondent and WAPO writer. Like, what recent bag did she get?
Bag of weed. I mean, what's she on really? Like,
I don't know. Maybe eyeing a like Newsmax or Fox News position.
Maybe she's going to run for office against Dr. Oz.
Oh. You mean with Dr. Oz?
Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
My senatorial running mate.
Oz went in 2024.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah, I really don't know. Like, that's kind of, I guess, where I'm at a loss. Like, what caused her to do an immediate about face? I mean, I could maybe like DM Dr. Neuro and see what he thinks, but at the same time, like, she's doing a speed run of blocking all of med Twitter, so I don't want to like necessarily get him on the record of saying anything, because she apparently is like searching her name on Twitter. Like, she has nothing better to do.
Oh no,
that's insane.
To the point where we have to like censor her, like putting an asterisk in her first and last name so it doesn't come up in the search. Like, it's going that far. But goddamn, like, to me, it's amazing that somebody who makes a lot with an MD, who has no shortage of money or prestige, decides to do this anyways. Like, I guess maybe that's the question I'll pose to you. Like, someone in that position, just brainstorm.
It's never
why.
enough. Like,
I think some people just catch the brain rot.
I would agree, but that's a very fast about face to make.
Yeah.
There's an interesting phenomenon. I think I tried writing this out, and it was that night I was up for like 24 hours. But there's a weird curved linear relationship with years of education and like risk behavior. So like we typically think as your education goes up, your behaviors become more like, in balance or whatever, that you take less risk. And there's some interesting survey data I looked at. It's been a while, but the relationship was curve linear. So that means that at a certain point, people actually got so many years of education, they started not behaving cautiously. They started behaving more risky. So someone asked what curve linear is. That just means it's like a horseshoe. So it's not like directly going up or it's not directly going down. It's like curved.
Kind of like a bell curve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder if some of that's at play, because like at the conferences I've been to, all academics, all really smart people, but as you guys pointed out in the pictures I showed you, not a lot of masking.
Yeah. I think, is there a possibility of, because of how underpaid and overworked the academic industry or like sphere is, that maybe it's a like a burnout thing?
Well, I mean, I think like in general, sure, but like with respect to this person, I'm not necessarily sure.
Like behavior modified by emotional distress.
I mean, now that you bring it up, you could actually probably take a look at the link I posted in the ministry only chat, but this is the parody account of her that got banned. That upset her. But I had to Wayback Machine it because it's suspended. But you can actually see like this parody account was so spot on that like all of med Twitter was like, I love this, I'm following this right now for more. But these are like the unironic things she says. And if you look at the pinned tweet, quote, my family has evolved in our thinking since Omicron. Our calculation for deciding what events to attend isn't based on risk, but rather reflects the point we've reached. We no longer prioritize our survival.
Oh, whoa.
She like unironically says shit like that, but not as like blunt. So, you know, I think I remember a tweet about that kind of with respect to the ineligible for vaccine kids, where she was basically saying like, yeah, well, you know, it's whatever. The parents are vaxxed. Your kids are not gonna do anything harmful to you. Let them get sick. Like that was kind of the position that she held. So it almost kind of reflects that burnout. Like, I'm tired of COVID. Let's get back to normal. Like maybe she has kids and she's sick of taking care of them. I don't know, but like. Yeah, maybe. I think there's probably an element of burnout in there because even the parody tweets are pretty spot on.
Someone asked, is she not a parody account?
Yeah, what I linked to is not a parody account. Or what I linked to is a parody account, but it's so indistinguishable you can't tell. Like, when I was first linked this account, I was like, wait, when did she lose her blue check mark? What the fuck? And then somebody had to tell me, like, no, that's satire. I was like,
that's
oh my
the
god.
worst. That's the worst, when you don't know if you're looking at something that's meant to be a joke.
Yeah, here, let me...
What is that? Prohl's Law, I think is what it's called, when like reality is no longer distinguishable from parody.
Yeah, oh god, is that... Yeah, is it Poe's Law?
I think it's Prohl's Law is what it is.
Let me see.
Prohl or Poe?
I think it might be Poe. Let me see. Yeah, it's Poe.
Okay, Poe's Law.
Yeah.
Prohl's Law. That's that Das Kapital. Prohl's Law is like no joke, no house, no car. That's Prohl's Law.
No house, no car, no money, only barrel around your naked body. But yeah, this is just something that was very like pertinent to me. This came up after I proposed the idea of the Chud show and tell, and this was perfect once she started like just going bonkers in the last week. I'm gonna.
I mean, was she getting like flack beforehand, like from people like conservatives going like, you know, making a Fauci argument on her?
I mean, maybe in small amounts. You probably got the stray, you know, taint whisperer type Twitter user, you know, replying to them and saying some stupid shit, but not like to any substantial degree. Like it's not like she had to lock down her Twitter to like stave off the harassment. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those.
You didn't bring up Dang as your presentation.
Oh yeah, fucking Eric Feigl Ding. Well, he probably would have been another good one, just to go through his like greatest hits and why it was bad for Hassan to platform him. But I've done that so much, it kind of felt like a breath of fresh air to bring up this one, because this one is someone who originally was doing everything right and then decided to do everything wrong, as opposed to someone who has been doing everything wrong from the start.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I guess really like nobody knows right now. I guess that's why the Twitter parody account title is Liana knows when to cash in, MD.
Yeah.
Probably just because she got a bag.
And I thought you were going to go after Brett Weinstein.
Oh, well, I mean, I've beaten him proverbially in a video game into the ground with his 90-page dissertation. So
with a dead horse called ivermectin.
Exactly. No ivermectin could save that dead horse from being beaten.
Have you guys heard of the Libs of TikTok discourse?
Oh God, yes.
Only a little.
Only a little. So imagine like a like 2015 SJW cringe compilation YouTube channel, but it's a TikTok, and its express purpose is like doing anti-queer agitprop. Like, oh my God, look at this teacher who is upset that, you know, because they're gay, they can no longer like, you know, be out in their workplace. They should be fired because they're grooming children. Now, imagine that person's information got leaked and a journalist went to the address to confirm whether or not it was them. And then that person who owns that profile doxed themselves by showing their address and location, and then blamed the journalist.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. Like, and didn't they like have a whole spat with Taylor Lorenz, since she was the one who broke the story too?
Yeah, that's the journalist. So Taylor Lorenz went to their address and was like, "Hi, I'm doing a report. I want to make sure that this is, if this is you, because another person with the same name got their address leaked, and we just want to make sure that these are the correct people and nobody's like unjustly being harassed." And they took a picture of Taylor Lorenz through their door, and it showed their street. And we're like, "I can't believe this person just doxed me." Like, well, you did that. You.
Not the brightest bulb, clearly. And I think, didn't Glenn Greenwald confirm it afterwards too?
Yeah, I think Glenn Greenwald did.
But like, Glenn did it under the pretense of like, wow, look at these libtards doxing. They totally found all of the information about the libs of TikTok account, not realizing
his
that
was his was under the guise of like, I can't believe the state of journalism. It's like, motherfucker, I can't believe you are still a journalist.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to have another one of these for a politically oriented chuds, because Glenn Greenwald, I think, is an interesting example. He's an interesting case of like someone starting from a halfway decent position and then just going down an absolute rabbit hole of.
I feel like with the political chuds, though, it's hard to. It's not hard to justify, but it is a little bit different, because with science chuds, you can be like, okay, they're saying things that are not factually correct, and with politics,
Well, I mean, they I would say they intersect, because especially as it pertains to like The Intercept, because I think Gremlo, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where Glenn is right now, is The Intercept?
No, he came from The Intercept. He's on Substack.
Oh, okay, so he's on the Substack grift now. Got it.
I mean, Glenn Greenwald needs a steady drip of pieces, his content mailed to his email. That's the only way that he's an actual journalist, is people emailing him stories. So
yeah.
Did he actually say that?
Well, that's how he got the Snowden thing.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't what he says it was. Like, as far as doing good investigative journalism. Now he had like people to feed him information. It's
pretty embarrassing, and I mean, a real time Bill Maher correspondent in him.
Oh,
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I was actually a really big fan of Intercept, like, when they first started, because I was into like this whole independent media kind of kick and stuff like that, and I just had to like stop listening to their podcasts and stuff, because it was sad, man. There's just complete brain melt. I think like the whole Russia involvement in the 2016 campaign and stuff just really, I turned them into, I don't know, man. They just changed his brain. And Glenn Greenwald didn't feel safe. I mean, he lived in Brazil now. Like, he moved, because he felt like the United States government was after him for, a ton of different reasons and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and being in Brazil is not the
safest,
the best place to be.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's weird, because he's like a guy who, like, at one point I like looked up to as like a, an honest broker of like information and like good journalism in the modern age, and he just, like I said, he just caught the brain rot.
Yeah.
What I'm just telling my chat is, at the very least, and this goes back to what Amber said, at least like his brain rot, I think, kind of rubbed off on the outlet to some degree, because a lot of the like code was made in a lab type pieces came from The Intercept. Like Lee Fong in particular, I think, amplified a couple of conspiracy theorists in doing so. So, it feels like he almost was sort of a cloth from which a decent amount of these like anti-establishment, anti-everything like journalist types are cut from, in the sense that they'll just amplify anything for a story, for a lead, for clicks, for Substack money.
Yeah.
It feels like The Intercept is a shade of what it used to be. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, Lee Fong's another one who like was doing good shit and was like consistent about it, and then, caught a case. That's it. I really hope that doesn't happen to Ken Klippenstein.
Yeah, same, because it's already kind of happening to Ryan Grimm. Ironically, on the lab leak shit when he went to the Hill. So.
I think that's Crystal Ball rubbing off on him.
Is she still like do you think she has any say though on that show still?
No, not on the show, but it's everybody in like the DC media sphere hangs out in the same places. Like after shift, they all go to the same restaurants. They all hang out at the same bars. You know, they're all have each other's numbers. They text. They have group chats and stuff like that. And also they exchange information across the networks. Because like most people don't understand like how major networks work. Not saying anyone here does, but like local media is where shit comes from, and then it's mainstream media outlets that take that and then they make stories into it. They go to Spin Alley, as Jon Stewart put it, after work. Crystal Ball, because she was kind of at the forefront of the Hill's ascendance to like legitimacy during like Trump's presidential campaign and administration, I think she has a lot more pull in that area than a lot of people think she does.
Wait, there's someone named Crystal Ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dating,
well, it's unfortunate.
Dating
isn't it?
Kyle Kalinske right now.
No, they're dating? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Out of all of that, that's what I hyper focused on, the fucking crystal ball.
I was thinking it though.
That's I don't know, man. I used to watch the Rising too. Like it's
Same.
just I don't know. I mean I don't know, man. I it's just kind of is that why Gremlo, is that why you actually stream in the morning, to be kind of like that morning show kind of idea? Because I see it happening a lot, like where it's like an interesting dynamic. I mean, you must get up early, right? I mean, you must be.
Well, since Becca's been off of work, I've been waking up like 10 minutes before I start a stream. I usually wake up like right after 7 a.m., scroll through the news a little bit, see what I want to talk about that day, hop into a couple of chats, say what's up, see if I can like, grease the wheels on a raid. Yeah. And then I just start stream. But I do it because that was whenever I was going to school. That was when I was available. Like my classes would end at like 8 a.m. because I would do like super early classes, and then I would be live for like 4 hours. Why? Because I wanted to have like a full schedule, because I have to have like a very regimented lifestyle to be able to do anything, because I can't manage time. I'm very ADD. Yeah. So I would have classes at like 6 a.m. They would go until like 8-9 o'clock depending on the day. I'd start stream, basically just do what I do now. And then at 1 p.m. I'd end stream, give myself an hour to eat, and then go into work. So that's just like been the schedule, and it's been that way forever. It's kind of hurting me right now because the DGen hour politics streamers is, where the growth is. But it also means that people who do GGN hours can send their people to me afterwards.
Interesting. Yeah, it's cool, man, because for me, it's like a morning like show where like I turn into your stream and I'm like, oh, okay, like I just put it on when I'm getting ready in the morning or something. So it's kind of fun.
I like the idea of that, making it like a morning radio show, shock jockey, drive to work kind of thing. That's fun. But the problem is that I'm still not a morning person, and I never have been. So there's like an hour and a half, 2 hours in the first part of the show where I'm like, all right, what the fuck are we looking at? All right, yeah. Oh, look at that. New tweets. Let's check it out. We got some hogs.
Can you believe what this guy is saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's the first 30 minutes.
All right, we are at the 3-hour mark. I don't know if we want to continue talking about anything else or if we feel content with wrapping it there.
Can we talk about Elon Musk?
Oh, sure. Actually, this came up in a talk I gave today, and I didn't even know how to answer.
What did it say? How did it come up?
Like his COVID takes were.
Oh, I know Elon Musk predicted COVID would be over by April 2020. That's his most famous thing, where he was incredibly fucking wrong. Has he said anything else since?
Oh, so it's been over for 2 years.
Well, yeah, also apparently. This dude said that my entire PhD research field is a meme and doesn't really exist. So
wait, what? Plant research is a meme?
No, nanotechnology research. He's like, oh, next generation is femto technology, dude. And I'm just like, fuck off, dude. Jesus.
Well,
Christ.
you know what? His companies wouldn't exist without the hard work of other people and all the money he inherited from his family who ran a fucking blood emerald mine in apartheid. So
yeah, bro, like actual scientists that are actually like doing the stuff that he like fucking brain drains off. I can't stand him.
Yeah, there's a reason why all of the like inventors and shit from Tesla got yeeted out of the company when he stepped in.
I'll give my reasoning for bringing him up. I work with 3 men in my lab.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, and they're all so into Elon Musk that they would suck the dirt off of his toes if he asked.
Dude, the guy's a fucking deadbeat dad. I don't think his science and all that kind of shit is something else, but it really pisses me off. He's a completely abandoned 2 families now. I think it's like up to 7 kids, and the dude's not even a father to any of them. Really pisses me off.
Wait, he had a wife before Grimes?
Yes, and they had 5 kids, and he completely abandoned them.
Shit.
Yeah, and then he's had 2 kids with Grimes now. Those kids aren't even going to know their dad. And I don't care how much money he is, how much money he has. I mean, I have huge problems, obviously, like with him for a lot of different reasons, but I can't. Nobody talks about this, and it's so frustrating. People just suck him dry on the technology and Tesla and all that kind of stuff, and nobody talks about how this guy's a fucking deadbeat dad to 7 kids. It's just, I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna put on my Elon simp hat for a moment and imagine like what they would say.
I'm gonna get so fucking.
Oh, I mean, they would say that he's a billionaire, so those kids have such great lives, man. What do you mean? He pays them like billions of dollars every month. They're gonna be set for life, all that kind of shit, dude. Bro, that's how you create like Lex Luthor, bro. That's how you create a serious superhero villain. Like, it doesn't matter how much fucking money you have if you don't like actual. I mean, research shows this too. Between 0 and 5, those are the foundational moments in your life for nurturing, for security, for caring, and to have like for Grimes, both of her kids I guess they're not going to know their dad. It just really pisses me off, dude.
Nothing like really against Grimes, but I don't know if that is like if there's going to be like a sole role model for an extended period of time. Not sure. She's a little wild.
Dude, I watched her on Hassan, and I'm like, bro, I don't know.
I watched a couple interviews with her. It was a wild ride.
Does she not look like she's sticky to the touch?
It's crazy, bro. Like, I don't know which...
What a way to describe
I mean, she lives up to the name Grimes. Grimy.
Bro.
She looks grimy.
Bro,
she looks like you would like give her a high five or like pat her on the shoulder, and your hand would do that thing when you're like really sweaty after like working out in the yard for a little while, and it kind of like...
I mean, to be fair, Elon Musk does not look any better.
True. Like Grimes is the physical manifestation of bong water.
Yeah.
But his takes on COVID were really lit. I was reading up on them on stream because I had some regret for picking Steven Pinker, and I was like, damn it, I should have picked Elon. So I was reading on
even an engineer? Someone asked that.
I don't think so.
I guess technically, he says that he knows all of the compartments for the engines, and he personally builds all that kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah, that's bullshit.
There's no way. You ask any mechanical engineer, man, like, are you really going to be able to figure out combustion engines on a rocket and a motor? It's completely 2 different systems. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense, dude.
And this I don't own a house. I'm like couch surfing at all my friends' house. All that's bullshit too. I don't believe that for a second.
He has a bachelor's in economics and physics.
Oh, bachelor's degree, Andy. Okay.
Elon is an engineer in the same way that Trump made the vaccines.
Yeah. I have a really hard time believing like his stuff. Even on his tours and stuff, when he's quote unquote like talking it out, it sounds like he's in meetings with engineers and they're telling him what's going on, and he's kind of just regurgitating it. I don't think that he actually comes up and draws the plans himself. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, but
he's
very
narcissistic.
Think he does.
I think
that's the problem.
Exactly.
I know.
He's very narcissistic.
Okay, so I walked in on 2 of my male coworkers discussing their Lord and Savior Elon Musk, and
oh no, I'm so sorry.
One of them came to help me with putting the fucking gel box because it was never watertight and I couldn't get it watertight. So I was
okay.
like,
Oh my god, take some TAE. You take some TAE and just let it go around the sides.
I did fucking everything.
Okay,
don't at me.
Parafilm. You do some parafilm.
I spent 30 minutes
You did some parafilm. Put some parafilm around it.
Don't mansplain, Greg.
Dude,
don't
mansplain me.
Marcus, can we get a Zoom link next time? Can we like do this? We'll get some live tech support, some mobile tech support. We know. Come on, leaky gel box.
You know how many gels I've made,
the
Greg?
Ministry of
You know
Science
how many
does.
tricks I know to put the fucking box in? I know. Anyway.
It's only,
So he comes
like
over
literally only
and
Marcus is
I'm-
laughing. That's it. That's the only person that's laughing.
Because there's only 3 people in this call that know what the fuck
Yeah, this
we're
is some real
talking
inside
about.
baseball, you guys.
So
I'm laughing at the interaction.
yeah. So anyway, so he comes over, he's helping me, and I'm like, oh, another Elon Musk simp in the lab, huh? And because this hasn't come up before, so I said it as a joke, and he's like, goes off on this like rant about how there have only been so many companies that have gotten people on the moon, and SpaceX is one of them. And I'm like, anyway, because I didn't want to hear it, and I was like, anyway, just like signaling, hey, I want to change the subject. And he just kept talking. And I said, okay, anyway. And he just kept fucking going. And I'm like, you don't really listen well, do you? And he got quiet and walked away. And I'm like, fine. Fuck off.
Did you at least
Weird.
get that thing in the thing?
Yeah, no, he did it for me, which makes it worse.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Because now he's gonna be like, goddamn, dude, fucking lefty,
Yeah.
like it's cuck doesn't want to,
Yeah.
do this herself, woman, yeah.
Yep, and he's the part-timer.
So literally, Amber,
Just use that on him. Just be like part-time, Andy. What the fuck you know?
I just got castrated.
No, it's the meme where
scientifically.
I think it's like that Simpsons meme with fucking somebody jumping in front of Apu as he's about to be shot, where Elon Musk and then weird Elon nerd fans like
Hey, he
jumping in
doesn't
front
need
of a
you
bullet.
defending him. Fuck
Exactly.
off.
Yeah, it's very weird, dude. It's very weird. Any type of like, it's very cultish. Very
They worship
cultish.
it. It's insane.
I always tell Elon Sims whenever I encounter them in the wild, is just like, he's not gonna fuck you, dude.
That's why I say they would literally suck the dirt off his toes. Like
Yeah.
the way that they talk about him, like they would.
It's kind of like this Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand version of the world too, where it's like these person's gonna save us and he's gonna fix all the problems, and if only he could have more power and did
Great
everything.
man.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, dude, this is. I mean, I don't think so. Like, just because let's say he's good at like rocket engineering or whatever. Now, what he was talking about, like the forms of government that he would have on Mars. It's very, very weird. It was like he was like
Very autocratic.
No, he went democratic. He said he didn't want. I forget, like the very like anarchistic, like no structured government and that kind of stuff. It was very weird. I was actually
ANCAP.
surprised. Yeah, exactly.
Blade Runner. Is
Yeah.
what it sounds
No
like.
gods, no masters, except for Tesla and SpaceX.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is so stupid because like Tesla as a company is basically insolvent if it's not for the mass amounts of government subsidies that they get every year. And this like roadster thing that they're supposed to, we promise, bro, roadster's coming, bro, please, bro, I promise, dude, it's coming. And you could just keep pre-ordering for $1,000, and don't worry, you'll get in on the first run. It's ridiculous, dude.
Carbon credits. Because of California's carbon credit program, Tesla basically sells carbon credits to other car companies in California. Once Ford and all these other big car companies like create their own EVs, then they're not going to be going to Tesla in order to do this. But they are huge globally. I mean, they do make like a shit ton of electric cars.
But that
It is
doesn't
pretty
make them
crazy.
someone that is like supposed to be looked up to. Like
I'm with
just
you.
because
No, I agree. I'm just.
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm not like disagreeing. I'm just like
I think-
arguing against the
Simpness.
mindset that these people have. Yeah. It's
I
like,
think as a EV company, that Tesla has actually sold less than like Toyota.
Well, didn't they have like 40% of all of their cars get recalled or something recently?
Well, also there's that. They're very shoddily made. They're like the construction on them's bad. They explode a lot. But if you talk about that on Twitter, then you'll get mass reported by Elon Sims.
Oh, yeah, there's another Tesla recall as of 2 days ago for defective side airbags.
Yep.
But only on vehicle. Oh wait, no. Wait, no. Is this a third recall? Excuse me. What the fuck? For vehicles with the boombox feature? What?
Alrighty,
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah, the boombox feature got recalled.
You have to get out of here, Greg.
Yeah, dad duties call. But yeah, check out my if you guys haven't seen it, the my YouTube channel. The URL is thepeer.review. Dude, my Haas interview is blowing up like exponentially.
Dude, you're being talked about in Twitch poll.
It's crazy because since he's banned, people are going to YouTube, and I can see it in the algorithm. Basically, the analytics, it's like going up exponentially, and people are Googling infrared Haas and clicking on it. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
nice.
Like the engagement is insane. It's about 11.2% impressions click through rate. So my normally like good is like 3%. So it's like 400% higher. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool.
Good shit.
Greg's gonna be famous.
No, I don't think so, but it's cool. I think I did a talk with Leonard today on the IPCC report, and then I'm going to be talking to Heem tomorrow or today or in 10 hours or whatever, since he's a PhD grad student too. So yeah, man.
Look at you making moves, man. Talking to Heem, good for you.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm trying to like just figuring out how I can insert myself onto because I don't want to make this my career. This is just my science outreach, and hopefully I can try to improve the discourse, because I think that's the next meta, the improved intellectual meta on Twitch. So that's
my God.
It's gonna happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're. Wait, Greg, did you have to go?
Yeah, I got to go do dad stuff, but you guys can keep talking.
Okay.
So, but I gotta go. So,
Sorry, I just didn't know why that was happening. Okay,
sorry.
good to know.
Yeah, sorry.
Greg, thank you for being here.
Yeah, man. Well, it was fun.
Always a pleasure.
So I'll sign out. So, adios, everyone.